Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here,
And Blue Dragon 5.
and welcome to the show where we wax poetic about the movies we see on a month to month basis. It's time to crack open our
Movie Memoirs!
memoirs. Yeah, so Dragon, this was just kind of a casual month for movies, no major box office records have been broken or anything like that, just
It's a rather cheap month, if you ask me.
right, just super casual, super casual. No,
Yeah.
we've had some big stuff this month, folks. We will
No
get
big
into
deal.
it. We will get into it. If I had a nickel for every blockbuster movie starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Jon Bernthal that released this month in theaters, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. All right, anyways. Okay, Dragon, before we get to that, we need to get to the news. I don't know why I elongated it like that. So, as always, we start with some passings, and of course, this month we lost quite a few people, but
You killed the first
none
guy.
more so, none bigger than the great Sam Neill. Greg and I actually watched a movie that's going to be on my catch up for movie night in honor of him. Yeah, I mean, you can imagine for me, it's like, you know what, Dragon? Here's the one thing that I'm going to say for Sam Neill. I mean, obviously, like, I know him obviously as Dr. Grant first and foremost. I haven't really seen a ton. Like, he did some good stuff besides that. Like, he was really good in stuff like Hunt for the Wilder People, like late in his career. He did some really good like 80s horror movies that my movie night friend has kind of been introducing me to. One of them was In the Mouth of Madness, which I watched like a few months ago. But Dragon, the one thing that I really want to say in regards to Sam Neill is people gave Jurassic World Dominion so much shit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They gave it so much shit. But you know what? It's not a perfect movie by any stretch, but in retrospect, aren't you people glad that they got him and Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum together in the same movie, bouncing off of each other one last time? Like, is that not something that we can actually appreciate that movie for now that he's actually gone?
So, a few things. One, again, I blame you and your vacations for your little trips for this. I remember when the moment he passed, I messaged you and said, "Well, Tiki, you killed another one." It's like,
Yep.
it's always a natural disaster or people die, and it's always something horrible happens when you go on your little field trips. It's like the magic school bus with consequences with you.
Well, Dragon, how dare I visit friend of the channel, Jacob Gulliver?
You can always, we have this thing called the internet in which you can say hello to him through,
All right.
His had to go. Anyway, but yes, so Sam Neill's passed away. Of course, New Zealand actor, just consummate actor. He excellent supporting player in so many things. Speaking of the the 80s and kind of 90s horror, and one of the things he did was he was in the third Omen movie, and he played adult Damien.
Yeah, that sounds right. I haven't seen it, but my buddy and I were kind of like looking through different Sam Neill movies to watch, and that's one of them that
you're gonna love this. Real quick, okay. So Kevin Smith, he actually met Sam Neill one time. It was like this, it was like a dedication of some kind, and he was there. I think Sam Neill was presenting him like an award or something, and basically, when Kevin Smith talked him up, he was Sam Neill was expecting him to say, "And the man who played Alan Grant," but he said he went Damien. Like he said, he played adult Damien, and and he was so according to the way Kevin Smith, he was so tickled pink by for the one time someone didn't just say Alan Grant, it like tickled him.
Nice.
Had like a glint in his eye kind of thing. Anyway, yeah, like that. And that's the thing. The man always had that gleam in his eye when no matter.
He did. That was one of his like signature bits of his screen presence for sure.
Now, there's one role I want to talk about that's not Alan Grant. Okay, this one always meant the world to me. No, I will never have another opportunity to talk about this. Okay. No one will ever give him his flowers on this, but now that the man's gone, I think he deserves it. My favorite underrated Sam Neill performance that he did was in a movie that people don't really like, Bicentennial Man. I love Sam Neill in
I don't
Bicentennial
even
Man.
remember him being in that, man,
He
but I
was so freaking good in that movie, Tiki. He only
really
had
don't
like
like
a
that
few.
movie.
I know you don't like the movie, but he was really good in that movie. I'm aware of your feelings on the movie. I
That
know you
movie
don't
is a
like the.
total fucking nightmare.
Yes, yes, yes. Tell it to the therapist. I know you don't like the movie. My point is, Sam Neill. Again, he plays Sir. He basically plays Mr. Martin, like the patriarch of the family, and he has this friendship with the Robin Williams, Andrew robot character, and he only has like a handful of scenes in that movie, like mainly in Act One. And
Mhm.
again, it has like this full lifespan, this full like kind of history with him, and it's this thing where he's just kind of a novelty, like a robot that kind of fancies itself as human, part of the family. He indulges. It's just the idea of this kind of this modern man, and he just I just love that we had like these two scenes with him where like they're so intimate and so beautiful and so understated, where he plays like he has Andrew recorded the wedding, and he asks like, you record everything, right? So it's like, he basically projects the day of his daughter's wedding, and the two of them are like sitting like by the reflecting pool or something and just watching like the wedding dance on the water. It was beautiful. But this whole thing of like there was a novelty that evolved into a friendship that then evolved into he was a member of the family, and then it was this thing where Andrew was like looking for his personhood, and he basically like he wanted freedom, and he felt like the fact that Sam Neill played this is like, you're like a member of the family. You think I've been enslaved you? He just felt so hurt by it, and he cast him out. And the scene that brought it all home, that is so relevant now that he's passed. And I always knew that I hoped it would never come, but I knew one of these days the scene would kind of come back. The deathbed scene that Sam Neill played when
Mm.
Robin Williams' character came back and he's like summoned, and the ideas these two characters had a falling out. It was very tense. It wasn't like a big argument, but it was like, well, you have your freedom, you can't stay with the family anymore. But it was kind of a tense, like he felt really betrayed by it. And it's like this last moment of reconciliation, just putting the past to bed, and just like, just this really sincere, just beautiful goodbye between those characters. And the way he played that, just like the regret, and like the idea, he was like the father figure, the friend, the father figures, everything that they did in that movie with those two characters. I just found just such a great crux of like the heart that film was going for, that a lot of people argue it didn't follow through on, that the tone messed with and all that. But still, just what we had there was really strong. And obviously, Alan Grant, he brought the magic of like the skeptic who kind of went on this journey, and by the end, he's in the helicopter with the kids. And I don't know, just the man was great. The last time I think we saw him, or at least I saw him, was as the fake actor Odin in, basically he played himself. He was Sam Neill playing Odin in Love and Thunder. That was the last time we saw him.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay.
All right. Yeah, way to make that brief. Next up, we have Chuck Russell.
Yeah, so Chuck Russell, director of Nightmare on Elm Street and The Mask. Of course, I love The Mask. Huge. Always a lot of nostalgia for that. The man he was an effects man turned director, and just again, no one really realizes that The Mask was a big breakthrough in digital effects and human performance, and he really brought that out, and that was put into a lot of films after that. So always one of my nostalgic favorite films, and he just did. I just remember like a little bit before his passing, they had put out The Mask on like an Arrow release and everything, got like new features and interviews and stuff. So it's just. He made like one of the most successful Nightmare on Elm Street sequels before Freddy versus Jason. But the man, he didn't do a
The
lot.
big
But
one that I'm interested in seeing from him is that I've never actually seen is The Blob, the remake of The Blob. I've heard really good things about it.
Exactly, that was like the trifecta for him. His first film was Elm Street 3, and then the Dream Warriors, and then he did The Blob, and then The Mask. Like that was like three in a row for him right out the gate. And, he was a powerhouse as far as kind of horror and kind of next level kind of stuff was going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, Dragon Knight. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah, it was. I was very hurt by that. I'm just gonna say it. That kind of hurt my feelings a little bit.
You made some really good points. I'm literally just kind of I just obviously last Memoirs we kind of spent a little bit too long on the news. I'm sorry though.
I'm sorry. He's only gonna die once. I wanted to say something nice. I'm sorry.
No, I know. I just you were kind of lingering on the one movie, so but
yeah,
you had some very nice words though, so I do apologize for that. Anyways, okay. Next up, we have James Burrows. This guy, Dragon, you're probably. I mean, he seems basically a godfather of the sitcom, right? From everything
absolutely, he was the TV director, man. He was the sitcom guy.
He directed a lot of episodes of Taxi. He co-created Cheers, if I read that correctly.
Yeah, he was essentially the guy who created Cheers, more or less. He and it was pretty much him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, obviously, a big kind of tied into the industry for sure.
Yeah, not a lot there. Just Cheers and Frasier were basically the ones that he had a lot of involvement in. He very much he directed episodes of shows. Those were the two that he very much he captained the ship and was the showrunner on Will and Grace, Laverne and Shirley, Friends. He even just the shows that had gone on. He just kind of directed an episode or two as a legacy kind of thing. Again, we owe everything to this man as far as how to execute the sitcom or the building of the sitcom as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, next up we have Brenda Fricker. That's a hell of a last name. So she mostly she's been in a lot of stuff, big character actress, but I think the big thing, correct me if I'm wrong here, is she was the bird woman in Home Alone 2, right?
Well, the pigeon lady.
Okay, I'm sorry. The bird woman, the pigeon. It's been a minute since I'm
just saying, Tiki. In our circles, we have pigeon man. This is the pigeon lady. Okay.
Okay. That's true. You're right. Very much
that's
there's
why.
This woman. There's two things pop culture wise that this woman kind of reminds me of. One, obviously, she's a female pigeon man, and then two, if they ever recast the bird woman in Mary Poppins, holy shit, just goddamn lock her in. But not even the actress, just specifically the character. Anyways, I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's one of those things where very, very memorable standout role. I still to this day, I don't care what anyone says. I think Home Alone 2 is a slightly better movie than the first. I think it's a little bit more dynamic. New York's
a better locale, let's be honest.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Definitely. I looked through her IMDb, Dragon. It's not really a lot as far as stuff that I'm familiar with, but it's very prolific. Is there anything else you know her from?
I know she did. She was very much kind of a character actress. So I don't really know the other. She did something else.
Best movie musicals of all time. Certainly the best one where it's just very understated. It's that movie almost kind of has a documentary feel to it. It's just about two creative people coming together to make music. It's just a very lovely story. He has a very, very warm screen presence, and he's a very prolific folk artist in Scotland. Very, very. He's probably one of the most prolific musicians currently in. Is he Scottish? I think he's Irish. I think he's Irish. Scratch that. My bad. But so I believe that once was his only real major film role, but keep in mind, Dragon, he didn't just act in it. This man won an Oscar for Best Original Song for once. So, we are talking about an Oscar-winning guy here. And then just recently with the Paul Rudd movie, Power Ballad, which I think you'd enjoy, Dragon, considering it's the best I've seen Paul Rudd in anything in some time. Glenn Hansard has a really, really good cameo in that movie. Really good cameo. So yeah, to go from seeing him in that and being oh man, it's Glenn Hansard. It's like him, but 20 years later, and he's doing the same thing. He's busking on the street, and he's literally singing the same song from once. It was a real blast from the past, But to go from that to and now he died in a freaking motorcycle accident, I believe. Those damn, you know what other celebrity death really gutted me as far as car accidents. Do you remember Anton Yelchin?
Of course, I remember Anton Yelchin.
Yeah, man. So that, I mean, obviously Glenn Hansard, much older than him, but still kind of the same sort of freak accident sort of thing. So yeah, Glenn Hansard, like obviously not a big movie star guy per se, but like I said, that one movie that he did star in, I mean, that is a cornerstone for a lot of kids who, you know, a lot of theater kids in particular. So he will be missed. He was a very warm screen presence and a very, very kind of seminal movie for a lot of people. All right. So Dragon, we move on from deaths to, oh wait, hold on. We should
we might be having some lag issues, but it's not between us, it's between the stream and the viewer. So nothing really we can do about that, unfortunately.
Okay. So Kogias says Sam Neill was the heart of the first Jurassic Park film, and one of the main reasons why the first film is better than the sequel. That one of Neil's last two films was dealing with giant creatures, first dinosaurs. Now, was he?
Yeah. So posthumously, the next Godzilla Kong movie has him in it.
That's cool.
He doesn't want to hear my boring rant. That's all. Okay. So, folks, Moana bombed hard. We don't usually like to dwell on the box office, but I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up that this month it has been record breaking with both successes and non-successes, and Moana bombed hard, and this has led to Disney and Pixar suffering a lot of layoffs, and what really disgusts me is that they won't say it's because of Moana. They're basically trying to foist the blame onto Hoppers. They said Hoppers is partially to blame, which is bull crap, folks. It is bull at the highest degree. Look, Hoppers, even if you factor in the marketing budget, even if you factor that in, the movie still made like at least $11 million. That's not a lot. But, it made its money back and not a flop. And yet Moana has not even made back its base budget, and yet they won't say, hey, we screwed up making a live action remake, go figure. Instead, we're going to blame it on the Pixar movie that did okay. So I'm utterly disgusted.
Ridiculous. I mean, it's literally just an excuse for them to be like, no, we're going to keep making live action remakes because, they work more times than they don't. And we're just going to keep continuing to throw original storytelling under the bus, even though Hoppers is like one of the best reviewed original Pixar movies in years. So fuck them. I'm honestly so fucking sick of this country, of this company, Dragon. I was rooting for Moana's failure, but not at the cost of like employees' jobs. Yeah, no, it's heinous, dude. It's fucking heinous.
It's just ridiculous to me that Pixar literally makes the highest grossing animated film of the year, and
besides Mario.
Well, no, what I mean that they topped Mario though.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, no, they did. Seriously.
No. There's no way that Hoppers made more money than
Mario. No. I mean, Toy Story 5, Tiki. Story 5.
My bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. Toy Story 5 did make more than Mario. You're right about that.
So
my bad.
That's my point. So the point being, the company makes like, hey, this year we've made the hiest grossing animated film of all time. For the year, and we
literally of all time, yeah,
of all time until it gets, until someone beats it, and it's like, hey, what's our reward for this? We're going to cut jobs because your other film it made its money back and barely made a profit, but again, the point being, it was your experimental film that did not fail, and we're going to punish you and our Disney employees for it. That's not fair.
I mean, it's getting to the point where, for me, I mean, as you know, I've been out on the parks for a while. I went to Epcot in December. I was not impressed. I mean, I really enjoyed Guardians Cosmic Rewind, but at the end of the day, that ride is basically a more souped up Space Mountain. It really wasn't anything too mind-blowing outside of being a fun coaster. So my point is, like, I'm so fucking checked out on Disney. I don't care to go to the parks. Unfortunately, I'm paying for Disney Plus just because they have a lot of shit that I need to watch on there. But it's, I don't know, just very, very. I mean, this is just one of the most heinous things I've seen Disney do in quite some time, man. It's quite
It's
bad.
indefensible, like illogical, indefensible. I can't process it, man. It just does not make sense.
I feel you.
Okay, so more bad Disney news. So Marvel Studios has
this
canceled.
wouldn't even hurt as much if they didn't announce season 2.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, like literally the whole Wonder Man was designed to be a one-hit wonder. It was like it was.
You know what's extra fucking stupid about this, dude? You know what's extra stupid about this? It's kind of a similar philosophy that you just laid out with Toy Story 5. It's like, hey, Dustin Daniel Credin, yeah, you literally just fucking made the movie that has the highest opening weekend of all time. But we're not going to give you a season 2 of Wonder Man. Fuck you.
And plus Wonder Man did really well, despite logically you would think Wonder Man would not do well, but actually critics loved it, people loved it, people watched it. And Wonder Man already did well. On top of that same director,
it was fighting a really uphill battle because it's a character no one had really heard of. Obviously the Disney plus Marvel stuff, very, very hit or miss. I feel like Secret Invasion kind of did a lot of brain damage in that regard. But but regardless, it was still really good. A lot of people watched it. A lot of people talked about it. I mean, it wasn't like a blockbuster, like runaway hit, like something like WandaVision, but like keep in mind, something like WandaVision, that's basically only going to happen once because that was the first one. It was an event, anyways.
Yeah, I'm saying,
folks, I do hope that the lag has become somewhat more bearable. I mean, Dragon, you can hear me just fine, right? Like from where I'm sitting, there's no technical problems at all.
And so far, so good, Yeah.
So that's all I'm really. I mean, at the end of the day, if it's unfortunate if the audience is having a hard time, but I do hope that what we're recording comes back clear on the on the archived version. So, anyways, okay.
Anyway, so. All the script changes and everything. I don't know. He's probably like, can we just lock something in so we can actually film the thing instead of just like changing it all sorts of times during production? Very reasonable point. Then he's fed up with it. 7 years they haven't gotten it together. Feige's like around Comic-Con, he's been saying like he feels so bad about the failure of Blade, and I think him announcing that may have like pushed Marshall to officially confirm like, yeah, okay, I'm leaving the project. I'm not coming back. They've kept me waiting. I have to use my swordsmanship on this new movie I'm doing that actually is happening. And most likely, Blade is not going to see the light of day unless they recast. But given how long it's taken, I don't think they will. It's so embarrassing. It's compoundingly embarrassing that we've had the Mahershala Ali Blade in voice. We've had him in animation with a sound alike. We've seen what he would look like. We have not gotten the actual guy.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. And it makes the Deadpool line all the greater a barbs. The whole, like there's only one Blade.
Right.
At this point, I think they can only do a Wesley Snipes Blade. It's the only way they're ever going to make this Blade movie happen.
Okay, coming up next, we have some Comic-Con news. Some big casting news. Let's see. So we have Daniel Johnston cast for Black Panther. Is he playing T'Challa?
So he is playing T'Challa the Second, who we established at the end of Wakanda Forever.
Oh, okay. He's playing the son. Got it.
He's playing the son, grown up, and they've announced him. Here's what we got: Black Panther 3 coming December 2028. There's a whole lot of spaces left, so we don't know what's coming before then. He's playing T'Challa's son, and also it sounds like, I want to say this is official. I don't know if they announced it at the panel or not, but Denzel Washington should be in the movie. We don't know his who yet, but he should be in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we know that. And after that, they announced.
My question there is that's got to be a big time jump, though, right? Like, how's that going to affect the grander MCU?
My guess is Secret Wars has something to do with that.
Sure.
Let's call it a safe bet. I can't say for certainty, but it would make sense.
All right, Eli, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, Dragon and I can hear each other fine, so maybe go back and watch it on the archive. I heard it. I was like, duh. I don't know why I never thought of that, but that totally checks out. That makes perfect sense. I think it's a perfect role for Gosling. So my only fear with this, and I don't think it's a big deal because I think Nicolas Cage worked well enough in the role, and obviously Nicolas Cage is maybe even more of like a persona more than an actor. I mean, Gosling's a great actor, but you see him and he's not one of those actors that disappears into roles. You know what I mean? He's not like a Robert Pattinson. He's not like a chameleon. He's great. He's got a great screen presence. He's good at what he does. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think a role like Ghostwriter kind of requires like a Robert Pattinson level of like disappearing into the role. I think he's going to be really solid.
Yeah. From what I understand, he's a fan of the character, so I think it's going to help. So.
And of course, he already did technically play a stuntman in the movie Drive.
That's the thing. That's the big catch. He played him in Drive, and then obviously, he did a lot of stunt work in Fall Guy.
Much different movie. Like, don't get me wrong. If they did a Ghostwriter movie in the style of a movie like Drive, I would be fucking fascinated to see it, but that's not the movie we're going to get.
I mean, also, as far as like stunts and everything goes, I mean, the Fall Guy, so Gosling, he's got an understanding kind of of the character, it would seem. Also, Sean Levy is directing.
Yeah.
The man does.
He'll do a serviceable job. He'll do a serviceable job. I'm sure the cast and crew will love working with him. Dragon. It'll be a perfectly good 6.5, 7 out of 10 movie.
Okay. The interesting thing about this is they're working together right now in the new Star Wars movie they're doing. So there's.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I am low key a little excited for that one.
So I'm just saying. I think there's a little bit of hope there, Mr. Downey. Huh? Okay. Also, I should mention, so it was really cool when the way they announced this was years back. Like Feige was doing an interview with some guy named Josh. I forget for what news outlet. Anyway, so this guy, he interviewed him, and the lights went out when he said Gosling. Have there been conversations around Gosling? The lights went out, and then came back on. It's almost like it was like fate, and then they called it back here. They brought the same guy back, like questioning Feige. So it's weird how you say that. And the lights went out, and then Gosling appeared. It's like years later, serendipity. They made a big show of it. Anyway, also Sacha Baron Cohen is going to be in it as well as Mephisto.
Oh shit! That's actually rock solid casting as well, dude.
Well, we've seen him him play Mephisto. He's played Mephisto already. You know that, right?
In What If or something else?
No, in Ironheart.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I never watched Ironheart, but I did hear that Mephisto showed up in that.
Now, I hear he's not the main bad guy, much like the original Ghost Rider movie. He's in it, and he has a key role in it. But
have you not watched Ironheart either?
No, I've watched Ironheart.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah, that's why I told you he's in Ironheart. Anyway, let's see. Okay, lastly, Deadpool. We have some Deadpool news. So at the convention, Ryan Reynolds he'd done. This is hilarious. He's wearing kind of a denim version, or the Canadian tuxedo as he calls it, the denim version of the Deadpool costume going around. It looks kind of it's kind of a bluish gray kind of color. It looks a lot like the X-Force suit. Was going around, so secretly he pulled a Bryan Cranston from Comic-Con. He was going around, people are taking pictures and selfies with him, and they had no idea it was the real Deadpool the whole time, which would have blown my mind if that happened at a convention. Like, oh my god, my life streams would have been complete. So he crashed the Doomsday panel and basically asked if Deadpool could show up in reshoots, which was really funny. And there's been a lot of chatter recently where more or less he said, he's working on Deadpool 4. Now, what it's going to end up being, what it's going to be like another Deadpool or, like Deadpool like Spider-Man, for example, or Deadpool whatever, or just Deadpool 4, that's unclear.
He's
and
not
obviously,
Spider-Man. I've literally done a debate arguing against that.
That's the thing. He could, we don't exactly know what it is. He says there's some like untone, there's some stones that haven't been turned over story-wise with Deadpool that could be explored, and he's right. Might do the X-Force direction proper. It's, I imagine Wolverine will probably have a small role, and also there's the Avengers movies he's probably going to pop up in, which they're kind of alluding to with the Comic-Con panel. So, it's we're getting more Deadpool, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're more the Deadpool guy. I mean, to me, I honestly am more interested in the prospect of like I said, I don't want him to pop up in the Spider-Man movie per se. I don't think that's the right setting for him. But like I do definitely think that a setting like like an Avengers movie, I think would be a more interesting prospect for him. Sorry.
The first thing he asked was like, "Why is Thor crying?" That is one thing we have to solve in that movie. Somewhere we have to have Thor crying over Deadpool.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, so trailers.
Alrighty, trailers. Avengers Doomsday Dragon. I'm sorry, man. This just did not do it for me, my guy. It just did not do it for me.
Look, I'm just gonna say this: Infinity Vision is kind of a stupid idea.
Infinity Vision is literally just like, hey, Dune Part 3 has all the IMAX screens, but we have everything else.
It just feels so ridiculous. We're gonna put the tickets on sale, but only for this Infinity Vision crap. It just feels like, man, it's like I can't tell you how anxiety ridden I was, like thinking, oh god, they're not going to put all the tickets on sale right now because I don't have anything figured out yet. Like, oh god, everything's selling out. So that was not a pleasant day. But aside from the trailer itself, I think we had some cool Doctor Doom build up in the accent. We heard what the accent sounds like. Beyond that, reused a lot of the X-Men teaser.
Kind of sounded like a standard Eastern European accent. Like I wasn't really impressed by the accent, if I'm being honest.
I'm just saying we heard what he was going for. I mean, it was a wonder if there was going to be an accent or not. So I mean, it was something. They reused a lot of the X-Men teaser footage, which I felt was like, okay, why do we even have the teaser? Why couldn't we just put it here? It would have had a lot more impact here. We have some Avengers versus X-Men action, which admittedly, that's where my eyes are kind of like, okay, well, this is pretty like the whole heroic misunderstanding stuff. I don't think we quite need, but we'll see how it goes. Basically, that's very much put in there for the Comic-Con crowd. It feels like, we're talking about.
There's just not a lot here that grabs me. It's like Thor is trying to hype up Doom, and it's like obviously as comic fans we know that Doom is a big deal, but like. I'm watching this trailer from the perspective of someone who has no idea why we should be excited for Doctor Doom. And I just don't think this trailer answers that question. I truly don't.
I think Doomsday is going to be good, but I really feel the marketing has not been. I think the real marketing is letting him down at every turn on this movie.
And I mean, you and I both agree that even the trailers that we got, like the little teasers, like those were kind of like weirdly mismanaged as well.
That's what I'm saying. Like we shouldn't have gotten any of those. What we had here, the Cap return here was way better than the whole Cap and the Baby.
Like think about it. It's like they literally hinged this whole fucking trailer on like Steve Rogers returns.
Yeah.
That would have been a bigger reveal if that literally wasn't the first thing that we saw in promotional material for this movie. I mean, it's just, once again, it's like, it's kind of just low-key Disney being stupid.
I mean, the few takeaways I think we do have is, okay, Thor is going to be our lead character. The Stormbreaker catch was really cool. Cap's returning, but old news there. I will say this. The only two things that stood out to me. Dr. Doom's hyping up an unthinkable decision, which, okay, that seems to be kind of what our big, Thanos snap equivalent might be. Something Dr. Doom's going to be putting out a big choice to our heroes in this movie. And beyond that, we see Loki, and I hypothesize that Loki will be lending some time travel assist, which is how we get Cap coming back in our story.
I could see that.
Because, Loki is kind of presiding over all time right now. He sees Thor is in trouble. I'm going to help out my brother. I'm going to give him his little buddy Cap back.
For sure.
Okay. Clayface.
Yeah, I mean, now this looks like a movie, Dragon, to quote my whole, this is a movie. But seriously, it does. I mean, I'm genuinely really, really excited about this one. This might be one of my, obviously, for me, at the top of my anticipated list this year, for the rest of the year, it's hard to top Dune Part 3 for me personally. I know that's not your thing, but it's very much my thing. But this is up there, man. This is up there as far as most anticipated because it looks audacious, man. That's the word that I would use to describe it. It looks straight up audacious. It's just such a bold take on on something like this. And you know what else I really love about it is I love that it's the type of thing where it looks really bold, but at the same time, we're not doing the thing where it's just where it's just I'm sorry, we're not like basically what I'm trying to say, I'm kind of struggling to find the words, is what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't look like it's like wannabe pretentious or like wannabe like, ooh, look how edgy we are. Like something like fucking I'm sorry, the Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, which for me is very refreshing. Very refreshing. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this one.
Yeah, so horror movie in the DC universe, it feels very authentic to that. So it's like the genre, but it happens to have DC as the backdrop. I love the tagline of this movie, "The new face of Gotham City." It's like, oh my
Mhm.
god, that's so perfect. So presumably from what we can gather here, I think it's not like a big mystery what the movie's going to be, but it really seems like okay, actor gets in with the mob somehow, they attack him, and he uses the desperate experimental treatment, which gives him some abilities and leads to revenge. So I love that it's all this movie is all going to be in the execution. It's not going to be like a mystery as to what's going to happen. It's going to be about like the scale. Like for me, it's like I love that we're building up the scale of the full like clay monster look for him. Like we haven't seen it. Well, I don't think we should see it. I don't think we're going to see it. But we're just getting an
You
idea.
get
That,
the
okay,
feeling that that's basically going to be like the climax of the movie, and
yeah,
I think good. Like that's what it should be. It shouldn't just be like, all right, we're going to just go hog wild for it, like from the get go.
it's just the idea of like we're taking something that for years could have always like Clayface is always like the impossible character to do properly, but we're gonna find a way now with all the CG and everything that we have today, and I don't know, maybe there's gonna be some practical in there, at least with the face there is. And the point being, is the fact that it's like we're doing the body horror proper on Clayface is what is going through that character's mind that we've always seen, but we've never really felt like tonally in the story, or at least like with the exception of Batman the Animated Series, we never really gave like beyond Batman the Animated Series, Clayface is never we never really added like the whole like oh man, what is it like to be Clayface? That's what this movie's getting to, and it's like that's what intrigues me.
For sure, for sure.
That's gonna be what we're doing. It seems like we're doing right by Clayface, and the fact that Flanagan loves. I know he's not like directly involved. What I mean, he's not directing the movie, but he's written it, and the idea this guy loved Batman the Animated Series. I think he's gonna bring that gravitas in a grounded way. Question if Batman's gonna. I
I
still
mean,
want
the
like
whole
an
thing very much has like a feet of clay vibe to it for
yeah.
sure.
I really hope the movie ends kind of like the Penguin show did, where it's like there's like a dot 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 Batman's coming thing. Otherwise, it's going to be man, what's the point? Batman just failed at his job miserably here. This guy got away with everything.
Right,
They got to give me like a. I know we haven't cast a Batman. Just give me a hint of Batman, just anything, bat signal, something, shadow, whatever. Okay,
all right.
lanterns.
Yeah, lanterns. Okay, Dragon, this should have been a movie. Supergirl should have been a TV show.
Yeah, like
Straight
miniseries or
up.
something.
Just straight up. Because this looks so much more dynamic. This looks like something where, you could really build the anticipation for it. And Supergirl, like, basically, like, I'm not even trying to disrespect Supergirl, because by all intents and purposes, with Supergirl, the thing with Supergirl, Dragon, is that, like, the graphic novel that is based on, which I do hear is like the movie did get pretty accurate to that. Like it sounds like it would work a lot better as a fucking TV show. So
Yeah, I mean it's like kind of like a series of like installments. It's very much like a limited series kind of thing. So yeah, you could probably do that with Supergirl.
now, I mean, regardless, like I just definitely think that with lanterns, I just think it looks great. Like I think the two leads look like they're playing really really well off of each other. I mean, I really don't have any notes. I now Dragon, you remember I did tell you some stuff that I heard last time we talked about lanterns about how they might be doing some stuff with the timeline. Like from what I hear, it might be a situation where like where there's like two different timelines going on that we kind of cut back and forth between. And if that's the case, and if they really do like, I feel like that is one way to play up the fact that like, yeah, no, this should be a TV show. Like this wouldn't work as well as a movie because the TV show thing is just, is just so broad. But at the same time, man, I mean, I don't know. I definitely think that like I said, this just looks so obviously like the movie that would get butts and seats at the movie theater more than Supergirl.
I think here's the thing. I think what they launched with initially did not look impressive. I don't know why on earth they didn't use like the other two trailers that they had in the first place for this. Like, because everyone's like, "Where's the green? Where's this?" It just looks
where's
very,
the beef?
Exactly. Code Geass Anime Film makes a good point here. Do you think that the reason why Lanterns is a series instead of a film is because of the 2011 film not doing great? I think that's not the reason, but it's a reason. I think that's like one. If they had like
for sure.
It's like they were intimidated by putting Green Lantern on the big screen for some reason, all because like, well, the last time we did. Well, the last time you had incompetent people at the helm of that one. That's what happened.
Ryan Reynolds is just like, yeah, let's just forget about that one, guys. Don't think about that one.
So anyway, but yeah, I mean, at the time, I'm still not sure. I know we're gonna have flashbacks, but I don't know if it's gonna be a full-on timeline thing. I think we're gonna see John Stewart's backstory. I don't know how much we're gonna drag that. But here's the thing, though, you might be onto something because the stuff we're doing with Hal Jordan would imply, we could have a bit of a mystery going on with Hal Jordan, and that could bear like the alternate time, like not the concurrent time jump thing that we're doing. So maybe that would be a way of getting like Green Lantern in his heyday versus like him passing on the mantle now, which is basically what the crux of the story is. So anyway, this way, this trailer, we're very much getting kind of a buddy cop with like a slight Men in Black vibe, which I like. The Manhunters, we established the Manhunters are our bad guys. So basically, we've necessitated why the heck is this on Earth? So the Manhunters, who are traditional Green Lantern bad guy, they're our bad guys here. They're shape shifting somehow. Not sure if they really ever did that because they used to be these kind of robots who manhunted people. But the point being, these guys they're not to be messed with. They're on Earth, and get a little Sinestro. So this it's looking very good. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
Okay. Last.
Alrighty. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'd play Rocky.
Yeah, I mean, this looks schmaltzy. This looks, it definitely doesn't look like anything that's going to be like a best of the year contender or anything like that. But it looks fun, Dragon. It looks nice. I'll use that word. It looks nice.
I mean, I think our casting on Stallone is like dead on with the guy they got. I think they.
I mean, I don't know anything about that dude, but yeah, I mean, he is pretty. It is pretty uncanny.
You gotta remember, the making of Rocky is one of the great Hollywood, making of stories, and the movie just from the trailer looks very charming, and it's a little refreshing that we're doing something like this versus let's just force another Rocky movie. This one felt like okay, we're just kind of getting to the history of Rocky and celebrating it versus like let's force another one.
Sure.
So I mean, it looks charming.
Right. I mean, at this point, we know that with Creed, we're just probably going to be diminishing returns there.
Yeah.
So, anyway, especially with Ryan Coogler, likely not coming back to direct a Creed movie anytime soon.
And I think if they're doing more Creed, I heard it's like Creed training the next guy, which is like, come on, what are we doing now?
Alrighty. Okay, so yeah, we got through that. We got through that in less than an hour. Alrighty. So yeah, let's get into new releases. Alrighty, let's do it. Okay, so Spider-Man, Brand New Day. This is one of the very rare times, Dragon. This is a rare timing thing within our channel where we're talking about a movie on Memoirs before you have had a chance to talk about it in a spoiler cast. So with that in mind, Dragon, go ahead, tell the people, what did you think of Spider-Man No Way Home?
I loved it. Of course, no spoilers, folks. I loved it. We have a street level Spider-Man, driving his own story. He's not saddled with the multiverse, which is not to say that's not a good thing you do with Spider-Man, but it's more Spider-Verse-y, and that's not what we're doing here. It feels like we this movie epitomizes the soul of the character, which is I think its
Mhm.
best quality. What I really loved about it, basically, we haven't done something like this in Spider-Man 2, just kind of embodying, just kind of like what sorry, not counting the Spider-Verse movies, which obviously Into the Spider-Verse is a love letter to the character, but Spider-Man 2 is very much like, okay, this is like anyone's intro to Spider-Man, like that's what this guy's life is like, and that's kind of where we're at now with him in this movie, and it feels like yeah, it feels kind of like a mixture of that with like it's kind of like the Insomniac Spider-Man game on the screen to a degree. In terms of like you kind of a Spider-Man day to day, it's a celebration of all the hallmarks you like about the character. We're throwing a real curveball at him, story wise. It's kind of challenging the mechanics of how he operates, which is like built into the story, much like the games. Um, Again, we're very much in the aftermath of the memory wipe from No Way Home, which again is always the refreshing thing going from like one more day to brand new day. It's like kind of Spider-Man kind of set at zero and just kind of very separated from all the convolutedness we have had in the MCU and everything. He's his own spider, and yeah, just I love the Punisher is in this movie. Uh, the dynamic that he has is just the dynamic it plays is the absolute best part of the whole
It's
film.
fucking perfect. It's absolutely like it's.
We knew
I
it was
think
going to be perfect.
yeah, I think the dynamic with the Punisher in this movie is the best that Frank Castle has ever been depicted on screen, just bar none. Like
In
I've
terms,
loved Jon Bernthal in the role. I think Jon Bernthal has been like fucking perfect in the role, like since basically day one. But man, just what they do with him here is just there's just something real special about it, Dragon. There's something real special about it. The climax, Dragon, like the position that they put the Punisher in the climax of this movie is so fucking perfect. It's so on point with what that character is, the interesting stories you can tell with that character. And also let's not discredit like we easily have the best Hulk action in this movie since maybe the first Avengers movie. I mean, I think this Hulk scene is better than the Hulkbuster scene. Like this Hulk scene, what I really love about this Hulk scene is just how much urgency is in it. Is just how much it's like it's the first time in a long time where we've seen Banner really treat the Hulk as like, oh no,
yeah,
oh god, no, you need to get the fuck out of here, dude.
yeah,
So
we do.
yeah,
We have a lot of. There's some bucket list stuff with Spider-Man between Spider-Man, the Punisher, and Spider-Man and the Hulk. So we're doing a lot of like what are the things we've wanted to see on screen in this movie.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so I will say that I got to be careful here. So before that, let me say, so there's a lot of Spider-Man in the animated series and Spectacular Spider-Man in this, which I love, just kind of in terms of how this movie feels. Not saying it's adapting anything full on, but it's just kind of that vibe, and I really like that in the film. But
Mm-hmm.
I will say, here's my issue with the film without getting into the specifics. So Sadie Sink is the
Mm-hmm.
stumbling block. I think we needed to dial back certain villainous actions that she did. But I
Yeah,
love,
yeah,
yeah,
I can't deny that.
I loved. Here's the thing: I still with this movie. I loved watching it. I like the stuff a lot of the stuff that we do, but it's like the one thing I bumped up against because it just felt, a little off. Let's say the
Mm-hmm.
resolution to it, though, I will say the resolution to it, in conjunction with a certain character beat, is great. What it facilitates and what it leads to, and leads to basically at one point, basically one of the ultimate Punisher bits we've ever gotten in the MCU.
Yep.
I will say that there's like this beautiful again to Daniel Dust. Daniel Destin Crichton? Am I saying that right?
Credit.
Crichton, yes, Daniel Destin Crichton. Um, Again, he delivers so many perfect from a cinematic and a kind of a cinematography point of view. He delivers so many great money
This
shots
is
of
easily the
Spider-Man.
best looking Spider-Man movie
Yeah,
since Spider-Man 2. Like hands
absolutely.
down. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have so many great money shots aside from the ones that we've seen in the trailers already. But there's that Punisher bit, man. That's like a money shot right there. It's like, oh my god, it's perfect. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
the best. It's the best MCU punishment I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's what I'm saying. It's just not. That is the way Sazing is not the way to introduce a certain character. I will say that much. We're just going to move on. Also, the post credit for anyone who hasn't seen the movie yet. because it's been book solid.
I
That's the
low
only
key
reason.
kind of respect the fact that they didn't really give a shit about the post credits, just because for me, it's almost kind of like, nah, you got your treat. The movie was the fucking treat. You know what that's honestly, I kind of felt like it was a little bit of a power move, and I kind
It
of respect
is. I'm
it.
just saying, what they did was like it was cute, but it was like I can understand why people are upset. Like the fact that it's not like a mid credit is like they're saving for the very end. But it
Yeah.
has to be probably has to be at the very end so they can do Spider-Man Will Return. That's the only reason it's at the very end. Otherwise, they couldn't do that.
Hmm. Hmm.
This felt kind of like it feels kind of stupid. For example, Captain America telling you about the virtue of patience. That's funny.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, no, that's
like
easily like a better. That's easily a better
yeah.
post credits.
I'm
Obviously,
gonna say
yeah.
like that's making
That's
fun
like
of
one
it,
of
and
the
also
all-time great post-credit scenes in my mind.
yeah. Plus, it's like Cap just kind of saying, "How many more days?" The whole like the PSA thing in the modern day with Cap that was flawless.
Uh-huh. For sure, for
Anyway,
sure.
but yes, the point being, I love the movie. I thought it was great. So
Alrighty. Okay. Next up we have the Odyssey. Yeah, so me pretty definitively liking Brand New Day better than the Odyssey. Not on my bingo card, but that's kind of where we're at. Here's my thing with the Odyssey. I feel like with the Odyssey, I actually, unfortunately, it's still great. Like it's obviously a big technical achievement, and I do think Nolan's taken some big, interesting narrative swings with it. I just don't necessarily think it's a great movie as far as like the rewatch value goes. It's obviously very episodic, and that's kind of the nature of the story. So there's not really a lot he could have done with that. But I just don't know, man. For me, even though I do think there are parts of the story that work really well as far as like the humanity, like specifically, the one monologue scene with between Matt Damon and Anne Hathaway towards the end of the movie, that scene I think is genuinely one of the most emotionally effective scenes Nolan's ever done. But honestly, it's kind of in a vacuum because I feel like a lot of this movie is just sort of spectacle, and it's well done, and the production design is obviously impeccable. And yes, I did see it on IMAX twice, and it looks fucking amazing on IMAX. But Dragon, the big barometer for me as far as like the staying power of a movie like this, and I just can't like when I think about it in this way, it kind of just makes me sort of get low key a little deflated about the Odyssey. I feel like the Odyssey, as far as like the production design and like transporting me to another world, stuff like that. I mean, you have Doom Part 2, which is kind of its own beast. But then as far as just like the pure, like, like ancient fantasy setting, like the hard fantasy setting, obviously one of the big comparison points is Lord of the Rings. Dragon, this movie doesn't even come fucking close to Lord of the Rings, man. Like, not even. It doesn't sniff Lord of the Rings as far as like just being, as far as the sheer heart and pathos and storytelling of Lord of the Rings.
to be fair, I mean you're giving it kind of a high bar to compare to on that one.
I know, I understand that, but that is the high. It's an epic movie, and that's the high bar, And I mean, I don't know. Like I said, at this point, I probably wouldn't even put it in Nolan's top 5. Which, when I initially walked out, I was kind of like, okay, it's not as good as The Dark Knight, Inception, or Dunkirk, which is probably pretty much always going to be my top 3. I mean, obviously he can do more, but for the time being, that's pretty locked in as my top three for Nolan. I don't know. I think more I think about it, it's like stuff like in even like obviously The Prestige. I mean, here I go with the ranking. I'll kind of shut up with that.
Always with the ranking.
No, but I think it's really good. But as far as Nolan's overall filmography, I think it's a little middle of the road. Not to say that it's a middle of the road movie. Just obviously, you're in pretty big company when it comes to Nolan.
So I mean, look, I think it's Nolan doing an epic of David Lean proportions in IMAX, which again Yeah, remember this movie being entirely in IMAX. It's a camera that stops every 3 minutes. That is not an easy shoot.
No, it's
Doing everything
not.
practically the way he is, it's like a very loud
My
camera.
favorite shot in the movie is the shot where he's looking out over the ocean and they fucking capture the dolphin on camera.
Yeah.
Like, that's just filmmaking magic at its finest right there.
Oh, for sure. And apparently, when they're filming this with the IMAX camera, given how loud that camera is, this movie they came up with a thing like they're going to put put a shell around it so we can actually get some usable dialogue for a change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but yes, this movie, it's a testament to old school movie making in the modern day, which is kind of what Nolan's mantra has been. It's like I said during our podcast, the last adaptation of the Odyssey I saw was like the TV movie from the '90s. So I was very open to Nolan's interpretation for this, and I loved it. The scope, the mythic, just the mythic journey home story. Again, it's like Odysseus is again. I kept being reminded of Michael Uslan's quote about comic books being a modern mythology. It's very much Odysseus is Batman, and this in a sense this is kind of Nolan remaking Dark Knight Rises but better. That's
better, absolutely. This is better than the Dark Knight Rises. I will give it.
That's my point. It's like, what if he can take like the elements of Dark Knight Rises he was going for, but just distill it down to the myth it was based. Let's distill Batman Dark Knight Rises down to the myth it was inspired by, and just do it better. That's essentially that was the second bite at the apple. So I think this is some of Matt Damon's best work in terms of performance, and I think
this is for me. This is both Matt Damon and Anne Hathaway's best performance I've ever seen either of them give.
Okay,
for my money.
And I mean, I think
as far as the score goes, it's very good for sure. I don't think it's one of those scores that's going to like instantly like lock into my head. Like I couldn't really hum any of it, but it's very effective in the moment. I think
it's no Hans Zimmer.
You know what I like about it is the actual instrumentation. I like how a lot of the instruments used in the score are actual instruments that they would have used during the time period. That's the main compliment I can give the score.
It works for the movie. Is it Hans Zimmer's dream is collapsing? No, but what can be?
Nothing is.
Yeah. Anyway, but it's a 3-hour movie that blows by like that because you're sucked into it, and that's the mark of a good movie. So Nolan did pretty good. I think he's going places. Teak. I don't know about you. I think he's going to be okay.
Okay, Minions and Monsters. You did not see this, correct?
I wanted to. I did not.
You need to, man. It's so good.
I know.
I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb. I think this just fucking like pole vaults over any other Despicable Me or Minions movie. I think this is like far and away the best movie in the franchise.
I heard they did a lot of Hollywood history stuff, which sounds really cool.
Yes, the Hollywood history stuff is great for sure. But low key, I mean, it's good for, it definitely elevates it for me, but it's not the only thing that works about this movie. I mean, first of all, the animation is just drop dead gorgeous, man. Like they have gotten to a point where Illumination really knows how to take like realistic textures, realistic water, and then do them in a way where it's like, I almost like, dare I say, Dragon, this is going to sound sacrilegious. I actually think if you're directly comparing the two, I think this might be a better looking movie than Toy Story 5. I'm sorry. The reason I say that is because just the slapstick and the pratfalls in this movie, obviously they're inspired by like, the Buster Keatons and Laurel and Hardys of the world. That's a big inspiration. But my God, they go so big with it. And there's so many moving parts on screen at any given time, and it's just very impressive. And so yeah, the comedy, I feel like they've just perfected the Minions silent film humor. And then also I really love the cast here. Obviously you have Trey Parker, who played Balthazar Brat. That's a very hard name to pronounce.
Balthazar Brat.
Thank you. And Despicable Me 3, definitely the reason why Despicable Me 3 is my favorite of the Despicable Me movies.
Now, does he play that character in this movie, or is this a different character? Okay,
different character. He plays the little mini Cthulhu guy. Oh, okay. And and he's delightful. He's just awesome. Honestly, I feel like if Trey Parker did more voice work outside of South Park, like if he was more of a regular voice actor outside of South Park, the dude could legitimately be like a greatest of all time conversation. Like
I was worried the little Cthulhu guy was going to be a drag on the movie. So you're saying he's
he's not. Trust me, he's not, because he's voiced by Trey Parker, and Trey Parker knows what the fuck he's doing. All right, and then also the biggest surprise in the movie for me was Jesse Eisenberg. Jesse Eisenberg plays a robot. But here's the thing, Dragon, as far as like the character design and the cadence of the robot, you basically just think he's a nerd who's delusional and in a robot cosplay, right? Like it basically looks like a guy who's cosplaying as the robot from The Day the Earth Stood Still. That's very much like the character, the character that he's modeled after. But the trick with what makes his character work really well is his character is so committed to the idea that he's a robot, and he has this fucking adorable love story where the woman just fully buys into the robot thing, and they play it up. They're like, is this guy a robot? Is he delusional? I don't know, but either way, it's delightful. So there's just a lot of moving parts. George Lucas has a cameo, and it's great.
I heard about this Lucas cameo.
I wish he was in more of the movie, but it's still wonderful for what it is. Yeah, I mean, I just think this checks off all the boxes, man. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a better movie than Toy Story 5, because obviously Toy Story 5, like, that movie was like just total millennial trauma catharsis on a pretty big scale. But man, it's a better cartoon. It's the best cartoon that we've gotten in a long time. Like, this is just straight up like a cartoon on a grand scale on the big screen, and I say that in the best way possible.
You want to hear something interesting about the Illumination movies, including this one? So I did some digging. Despite how great that animation looks, cost way less than any of the Pixar films' budget ever.
I know.
It costs it's like 80 million. It's basically 80 to 85 million. The Mario movies are the most they pay for those things. That's Nintendo giving them money, and that's still not even much more than the 80 million that they have. So because of that, all the Illumination
movies is that they really don't care about like realism, and I honestly think that's one of the things that kind of sets them. Like, I never thought that I'd be singing the praises of Illumination, but here we are. I mean, I think this is definitely the best Illuminations movie, like hands down, like by a pretty wide margin. So yeah, Dragon, definitely check this out when you get the chance.
Oh, believe me, I will. I wanted to. I just would. Again, I couldn't get out there to see it. That's the problem. But yeah, right. It's going to be So the point is that they're always guaranteed to make their budget back and make a profit because of that low budget and the fact they're reusing models, with the exception of Nintendo stuff. Even now, they can do that. So that you never have to worry about them making more of these.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Dragon, tell the people about Avatar Aang. Which I just got to say, that's not a great title.
They needed to do one that was at least the show name, all right? That's
Yeah.
Okay, so Avatar Aang, The Last Airbender. So, again, it's embarrassing how little respect Paramount Nickelodeon historically has had for the Avatar franchise, with everything that went down with the release of this movie, the fact that it's very theatrical quality. Now, I had no presumption that it was ever going to get a theatrical release, just given like the track record. So I mean, when everyone was getting upset about it, I was like, well, what do you guys expect? You know how they treat historical. What do you know? But anyways, and of course, obviously leaks and everything happened, and that just they got it moved up. They just kind of shadow dropped it more
leaks
or less.
Were unfortunate, just because it kind of took the wind out of the sails as far as any hype.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to go down the whole Primrose Pass thing here, but let's just say I still think they did not market this thing at all, and that's what killed this movie ultimately, and that's what killed the Avatar. So this is the first release of the very much talked up Avatar studios. They have all these Avatar projects lined up, and it's been promises, and we finally have gotten the first, basically the first safe attempt from them, which leading with Aang as your premiere movie. It's basically something that kind of, it's the biggest connection you have to the original show. You want to remember, why is it called Avatar Studios? Well, it's about this guy fundamentally, and that's about the Avatar namesake of all the other like hundreds and thousands of avatars you can do stories with. But it's this movie itself as like the starting place, the safer starting place. It's a very nice tribute to the show. It is a really nice. Like, if you like the show, I'd recommend watching this. That's the thing. This is like the anniversary, is like the retrospective anniversary kind of movie for it. It gives Aang is our main character. It gives him closure in a way that we never really addressed from the show itself. We have the opening is very strong, very visually dynamic. How we recap kind of like Aang's trauma and the show and everything. Dave Bautista, he's in this movie. He's a new character introduced. Taga, fantastic character. We do really good with him. Animation is a little different than we're used to, but it is top tier. The execution of the animation is fabulous. I think this movie combated a little bit of like growing pains with TV, like serialized pacing versus like a feature.
Right.
And here's the thing: only in the third act, I think it flows really well. We have really good story points and everything. It's just when we get to the third act, things get a little wacky, and then things get a little extended in the last battle. And we've seen like Korra towards the end had issues with this kind of thing, and I mind you that was not a movie, but still, overall though, it's very solid. I have no true complaint. I have one complaint about this movie, but nothing about the story, nothing about the movie itself. To condense it. When we did the spoiler cast on it, Jacob and I spent way too much time on the rant. But let's just say, recasting everyone to be PC is just a little. I think it makes more sense, and it made more sense in live action than it does in animation. This is a problem that's going on in the voiceover industry. We're asking people.
I mean, it's a touchy subject. I don't really want to get too much into that.
Well, the only thing I want to say is that the two people that got screwed out of this movie because of that was like Dante Bosco and James C., like the two actors from the show. Yes, he's not in the movie because Tiki. Here's the thing: because I want to be clear, the recast we got people in this movie are doing a great job. The actors we got are great, but it's like they're not the original actors.
Dante Bosco is a person of color. Like if you were going to recast,
that's what I'm saying. So literally. I understand why they recasted everyone if you want to be PC, you can't have your actors that we had in those roles. However, it's like in the actors we got did it.
Bosco in that role would have been fine though.
I know. Here's why.
Sorry.
Okay, this is the thing. So again, the problem is not so much that we had actors of color who again fit the ethnicity of the Avatar universe, and the Avatar characters, basically Asian and/or Filipino cast, which is what we have, and they honored the characters and they sounded like them. There's no complaints about the performances in this movie, but it's a matter of because they were playing scared and they very deliberately wanted to kind of do what the norm is.
Does race have literally anything to do with the Avatar universe outside of like the Earth, like the different regions? I mean, it just seems like such a silly thing to get hung up on.
I know, that's the thing. It's like, Dante Bosco, because, well, why did you bring everyone else?
I've always felt that the franchise as a whole has always been a little bit like racially ambiguous.
Well, that's the thing. It has been. It's animation, because anyone can sound like anyone in animation, as long as they're not doing like a horrible stereotype, which that show never did, so you're fine. It's just the fact that, because like everyone else couldn't come back, well, everyone else got recast. Well, we can't bring the one guy back because then they're asking why did everyone else get recast? And poor Dante Bosco is out of a job. They recast him with Stephen Yeun, who I love, and if you're going to recast him with anyone, I'm down for that. But still, it's like it's not Dante.
Yeah,
Bosco.
I love Stephen Yeun, but like he doesn't have the gravitas of a Dante Bosco.
That's what I'm saying. And Dante Bosco's whole thing is that he sounds the same no matter what age that he is. So he's perfect for this is older Zuko. There's no reason not to have him. And here's the thing. Well, James C. is an Asian actor, and he is the Cabbage Merchant. The Cabbage Merchant has like one line in this movie.
Oh,
and they recast him with Kenny Jeong.
All right. Well, that's when you first brought it up, I was like, okay, well, yeah, it's not.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not a problem of. Yeah. It's terrible.
Okay. Oh boy.
Okay.
All right. So next up, we got Evil Dead Burn. I'm going to be super quick about this because obviously it's not your type of movie. It's not really
unless Bruce Campbell's in it. It's not my type of movie.
No, it's Bruce Campbell has nothing to do with this movie. He might have gotten a paycheck for this movie for producing it. That's about it. I mean, the selling point to me for this movie, based on the trailer, because all the remakes of the Evil Dead have had an interesting hook because like with the Evil Dead 20, I believe it was in 2011, the hook of that is that the main character was a recovering drug addict and she was going through withdrawal as the Evil Dead shit was going on. The hook with Evil Dead Rise was that instead of the stuff happening to like random teenagers or whatever, it's happening to or young people, it's happening to like a mother, like a single mother and two kids. And that was genuinely compelling. Like I think Evil Dead Rise is a genuinely like really good horror movie. But then you got this one, and the hook is kind of like domestic abuse and domestic like, you know, like gaslighting and just being in a really toxic family situation. And that stuff is done all right, but I think the problem is that it's way too mean-spirited to the point where it's straight up like it's exploitive. Like I'm just gonna call it what it is. There's a lot of stuff in this movie that feels like it's basically just like, hey, we're gonna introduce a character. Basically, the premise is that the main character was in a marriage that was physically and mentally abusive. But then the husband dies in a freak accident. And so the movie takes place over the weekend that the funeral happens. The family fucking hates her, you know, and they're all gaslighting her about what a terrible person she is and what a great person the son is. I think on paper that's an interesting premise. And I mean, I don't want to get too personal with it, but I've been through some bullshit with family members being gaslit by very unsavory people, and it's just a very shitty position to be in. But I think the problem with this movie is that it just kind of keeps doubling down. It just kind of keeps like, yeah, like we're just gonna keep just actively punishing this main character over and over and over again, and there's no real catharsis. It's just a very unpleasant, very mean-spirited, very icky kind of movie. And there's some decent makeup work, but a lot of it is CGI. So yeah, out of the 3 modern Evil Dead movies that we've gotten, this is by far the weakest of the 3. Like, I don't think it's a terrible movie, but it's definitely not great. It's a very, very mixed bag. All right. That's about it. Okay, right. Dragon, tell me about my grandfather, Charles Manson. Remember Matthew McMurphy, Dragon? Matt McMurphy from the debate a couple months ago? Yeah. He has a stand-up routine, and it's actually a true story about his father was in prison with Charles Manson, and so he met Charles Manson as a kid. So fun fact there. I do have kind of a 6 degree of separation with someone who has a 6 degree of separation with Charles Manson.
You're 12 degrees separated from Charles Manson is what you're telling me.
Yes. All right, anyways.
All right, so this is so Charles Manson. So I kind of stumbled upon this through the old Disney Plus Hulu thing. It's just like it's based on like a Hulu doc.
Charles Manson on Disney Plus. I'm sorry, Dragon. I just can't get over it. The Disney Plus fucking branding is so meaningless at this point.
All right, so Sophia Maddox is Charles. This is his lady, Sophia Maddox, who discovers Charles Manson as her grandfather, and it really sends her looking for. Basically, we've.
She's still alive, right?
I believe. Yeah. Well, I think there's a chance he passed away recently. I remember. I thought a while back he passed away. I could be misremembering. I know he lived like a long.
You could be right.
You might want to look that up. I think he's dead, but I could be wrong.
You could be right.
Anyway, the point being, so this girl finds out Charles Manson's her grandfather, and basically we follow her kind of coping with this.
He died in 2017. My bad.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. All right, good. But yeah, so this sends her over. This sends her looking for answers as she's kind of coping for this. She's processing the information. You know, her father had a lot of issues. With Charles Manson being his father, and basically the idea is that her father overall was like seemingly, initially as we are introduced to it through the narrative, her father was really nice. It was very much kind of a daddy-daughter kind of thing. But as we get through the documentary, we peel back the layers that there are some ugly moments with the father, and that the father is, he has he's mentally unstable, not unlike Charles Manson. Not to the same degree, mind you, but just still, it's kind of a trait that the father never wanted to acknowledge, and basically the daughter kind of confronting him with this is really causing a lot of tension and strife, which we see in kind of like her with the cell phone cameras doing the interviews and stuff as through the film as the film goes on. It's very intimate, very sad in places. To me, one of the saddest, interesting scenes in the documentary was the father. This was so heady to me. The father basically had his cell phone camera on. I thought it was the daughter's, but it's not. It was the father's had the cell phone camera, and basically he has a victim complex. He likes to play the victim and basically yell at people and blame them for his problems and everything. And she has a very civil conversation with him, and well, why were you late picking me up? And he just yells at her, and it's but he's doing this in an attempt to show that this is to show you how difficult you are, kind of thing. So it is it's kind of like a shocking kind of true to life thing that you see there. And it's just this poor girl just kind of trying to just look for, kind of get to know what the deal was with Charles Manson, just kind of looking at the stuff that we know about Charles Manson through a very, very unique perspective, I guess. The whole question, is it genetic? Am I going to have to deal with this myself? A lot of stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I went into this thinking, oh, man, they're going to sensationalize this, but it is not as sensationalized as you might think. It's very intimate, down to earth, kind of someone processing this. So, it was better than I expected it was going to be, and had some interesting, really kind of stunning moments in it. But I don't know if it's for you. I don't know if it's for everybody, but it was it didn't feel as sensationalized as all the other serial killer things that we see all the time. So it felt unique.
Cool. Yeah. All right. For me, next up, I had The Invite. This very much feels like it could be a play, which is why I'm not exactly jumping up and down about it as a movie, but it's got killer performances. It's got killer dialogue. It's a four-hander. You have Penelope Cruz, Edward Norton, Seth Rogen, and Olivia Wilde, who also wrote and directed the movie. And Seth Rogen and Olivia Wilde are a married couple who's been together forever. And then Penelope Cruz and Edward Norton, they basically play swingers. They're a couple, but they have all these swinger parties. And Seth Rogen can literally hear them, because they live in this apartment complex, and the swinger parties happen in the room above the room with the married couple. And so it's just this very tense, the movie just starts off right off the bat. Seth Rogen gets home from work. Olivia Wilde is okay, these people are coming for dinner. And Seth just does not want to do it. And it's just there's so much palatable tension. It's very much Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, that kind of energy. It's basically just nothing but rock solid dialogue and verbal jabs and stuff like that. It's easily among the best Seth Rogen performances, I think. Easily. I feel for everyone else, like Edward Norton, I feel could play a type of role like this in his sleep. He's basically just yeah, I'm the slightly smarmy guy who's a smooth talker. It's good for you, Ed. You are in real life as well. You're really stretching your acting chops with that one. Olivia Wilde has a really good performance as the unsatisfied housewife. You really get to feel for her. She's very sympathetic. Penelope Cruz is good, but it's just kind of very similar to other roles that we've seen her in. It's a really good movie. If I'd recommend it for anything, it'd definitely be for the Rogen performance. I don't think it's essential. Like I said, it very much has the feeling of a stage play more than a movie, which is ironic because I'm literally going to be talking about a stage play that feels more like a movie than this. But yeah, it's really solid. I just don't necessarily know if this is going to be on my end of the year or anything, but I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it quite a bit for what it is. All right. Next up, you have Stanley, the Final Chapter. Is this the Stanley documentary I'm thinking it is?
You are correct, sir.
Oh boy! All right, I'm interested. I'm very interested in this. I'm all ears on this one.
Okay, so wait, so you weren't all ears on the other ones?
You know what I mean? I'm fucking locked in, dude. I mean, yeah, I've been listening, but I'm locked in for this one.
Okay, just question that for a second. Wait a minute. Okay, so Stan Lee, the final chapter. This is one that was very much on my radar because they premiered it at San Diego Comic-Con, and then the week after it was released, on Amazon and everything else. So ignoring the problematic Kickstarter controversy, I was very moved by this. I was very moved by this. The story, this is a story I've been putting
The
off
main
for a
fear was
long.
that it would feel exploitive, so I assume that's not an issue.
I mean, if you just take the movie as it is, Tiki, it does not feel exploited. It feels like it's a guy who was there just reporting on it. He has the extensive footage. We see the relationship that he had with Stan Lee compared to the other relationships that are shown with Stan Lee. It feels pretty genuine. But again, if you factor in the Kickstarter stuff, it seems like it clear cut. Seems like the fundraising with the Kickstarter was stupid. Like, I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know.
Right.
So, but again, if you take the movie on its own, which I mean, again, I knew there was a little bit of that, but I was just taking the movie. Here's the thing. So, this story is something I've been putting off for a long time. When Stan Lee passed, in the months leading up to it, there was controversy about elder abuse and everything, and we were all worried for Stan. Obviously, things happen the way they happen. And in the aftermath of that, there somebody put out like this tell-all book called like Stan Lee, the rise and fall of Stan Lee, which was like about all this stuff and the messiness and all that kind of things. And I could not bring myself to read that book because I just didn't want to. It didn't feel right. I looked into it. It sounded like people were saying, "Oh man, the guy's very biased," and how his execution was. And then this documentary came. The trailer for this thing came out. I learned about this project. And before all the Kickstarter kind of stuff, and it was basically the core of it being like, this is somebody who's there. He's got actual footage, and the thing that struck me to my core, and the reason I ultimately, of all the takes on this, I had to watch this one. I was there. I had connection to this. Like all the people have been to conventions and seen Stan Lee up close. I had seen the man 3 times, and 2 of those times, at least one time in particular, very very memorable. It was in a hotel setting. I saw the perpetrator of the elder abuse.
Really?
That's the thing. I knew the guy. I mean, I know the guy, but I was there. I interacted with the man, and I had that. There was that thing where something feels a little off about this guy.
You got a little bit of a bad vibe.
I mean, yes, and it was a very small thing, and it had nothing to do with things, but it was just kind of that, that sixth sense you have with a person where, I'm not.
Oh yeah, I know that sixth sense very well.
It's like something feels kind of sleazy about this guy, but I just, yeah, I mean, but now this is before when I had this interaction with Stan. So here's the thing: I had 3 interactions with Stan Lee, and this was all before, like, let's just say, I want to say this documentary covers maybe the last 5 years. And that last 5-year span, I met him before that last 5-year span. I want to say, last time I saw Stan was probably, I don't know. I saw him like maybe 2012, 2013. Maybe the last time could have been 2014 or 2015. It was like a little bit before. It was before things went bad. It was before Joan Lee passed away. But when Joan Lee passed away, and this documentary gets to, that's when things went really bad.
And it's like obviously in real life when that happened, we all knew okay, he probably doesn't have much, he probably doesn't have a long time left at that point.
Yeah. So point being, when I had seen Stan Lee, it was before. I think the very first time I saw him, like, I want to say, I don't know if the bad guy in this movie was around at that point or not. He could have been, but I don't. At the very least, him I don't remember at the very first time I saw Stan Lee. But anyway, sorry. My point is, I was ground floor. I always had kind of that connection to it, and beyond that, I mean, it's going to sound silly, but my father and I have a very deep connection with Stan Lee because my father's an older man, and we always make fun. He looks almost near identical to Stan Lee. And it's always been this thing. So he and I have a bond over Stan Lee because of that. And anyway, so the point being, this being so, between that and this being so well archived, I just felt like I really have to see this, man. If I'm going to experience this story, I want it to be this documentary. So I I bought it on Amazon because at the time there wasn't a rental option. It was really cheap to get it, and I did the fact there's no physical release, and that stupid Kickstarter didn't offer the physical release. Otherwise, I would have probably sunk some money into it there. But yeah, this man,
offered a hell of a lot of other shit, but not that.
I know it offered everything else that was pointless except for like the one useful thing, which would have been I would have loved to own this, Tiki. That's the thing. This is this is so well archived. It's a sad story. Obviously, it's the ultimate cautionary tale about elder abuse and what happens to the comic creatives, down the line.
Yeah.
And I will say it's a little light on the JC Lee of it all. She's in it very little. I think that's JC Lee's a whole messy thing in itself, and they don't really cover that here. But she's in it just enough, I think, towards the tail end, and you get kind of some vibes there, but they don't really dwell on it because this guy was on the ground floor for the very directly shady, fraudulent people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically it's this through line. So the director of the movie is a character in the movie. He's he's basically the guy who drove Stan Lee from his house to the conventions. He had a nickname for him, this Hairspray, which is adorable because he had this long hair, And he kind of built a bit of a friendship with Stan Lee, and it was more so like he was just kind of bearing witness to all the stuff that was going on, and just the years of he wants to say something, but this guy, that one I interacted with, this is Max guy. He was such the poster child for elder abuse in terms of he's forcing this poor little old man just to sign all these just sign until the man can't sign no more, and it was just the way in which they cover. So admittedly, there are some recreations. I want to be clear. There's only recreations. They're using audio, but it's just to show kind of give you an out of focus kind of vibe, like a man who's dressed like Stan Lee. Kind of it's like maybe 3 little bits, but it's not
that's not bad.
I mean, it's revisionist or anything. It's just the whole thing is archived footage beyond. This is showing you what it would have looked like for certain. Stanley took a fall at one point. Obviously, we can't. There wasn't footage of that, so that kind of thing.
Sure.
Now, I'll tell you when they get to there are shocking. The way this movie opens will grab you. I will tell you that it's a thing you never in a million years would have expected in a Stan Lee elder abuse documentary. It's oh my god, there's police, there's guns, there's oh my god, there's this whole thing. They have Stan Lee and guns in this movie, and it's oh wow, I did not see that coming. And it's shocking. It's dangerous. It's there's a kid. Stan Lee got kidnapped. Tiki, no joke. The man genuinely got kidnapped at a certain point. Mm-hmm. And I was on the edge of my seat. So it is so sad to, here's the thing. The movie is so sad, but by the same token, there's a little bit of a silver lining in the movie. And I want to tell you I would recommend watching. I'm
definitely going to check it out. How do you watch it? Remind me.
Well, that's the thing. I bought it on Amazon. That's the thing.
Okay. You bought it. Okay.
It's not a lot though. It's it was worth it though. It was, I thought it was good. It was you can get it for $8, but
Okay. That's not bad.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm currently saving for a big trip to Dollywood, so
I'm not saying don't get it anytime soon. I mean, there's always the chance that eventually it could land on Amazon through Prime, but I don't know in this specific case because a whole Kickstarter thing. So I don't know. But anyway, the point being, there's a little silver lining in the movie that's you think, oh my gosh, all this negativity. Can there be some justice here? And that's not a lot of justice, man, but there's a little bit of justice, and that little bit of justice that happens, it is so satisfying after everything that you get in the movie. It's this little hopeful through line of just oh man, something's got to be done. And I tell you, man, I needed to see this version. I got it, and it was a good watch. It got me emotional. It was very well told documentary.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. All right, so Hadestown the musical. Again, not going to spend a lot of time on this because it's pretty self-explanatory what this is. It is a pro shot of Hadestown the musical. What a concept. But Dragon, this is legitimately my favorite musical of all time. I'm not even bullshitting you with that. I think this musical is incredible. It takes the two myths of Orpheus and Eurydice, combines it with the myth of Hades and Persephone, combines them into one really, really compelling narrative. The setting is just kind of ambiguous time period that's got vibes of the Great Depression and New Orleans, and I mean just the mix of styles, the mix of visual identity. The cast is just so on point. And the way that they shoot the pro shot is very, very cinematic. And I really love pro shots because you remember the Hamilton pro shot. You watched that one, right?
I watched the one that was on Disney Plus. I think it was
Yeah,
Pro
this
Shot.
one I'm talking about. This one.
Yeah.
So the great thing about the Hamilton pro shot that this one does well, and I mean, I'd like to think that if you have a halfway decent cast, it's going to be like this, is that you get so many close-ups of like just those subtle little like looks and glances and and passive aggressive little moments of acting where like you are like I saw this show live in San Francisco. I genuinely think this is more immersive than seeing it live, unless you're like in the front row. I was like in the on the third level balcony, so if you're in the front row, sure, that's obviously going to be more immersive. But like, if you just got the cheap sheets, like this is giving you like better than a front row seat, and it's all the original cast. I mean, like, I don't know, I fucking love it. Like, I will definitely buy this when it comes out. Like, I want to own this for sure because this is just it really. I saw it twice. It swept me off my feet. But yeah, I mean, I even hesitated to add it to the list because technically it's not a movie per se. But I did see it in theaters, and it is very cinematic in quality for what they do with it. So yeah, there you go. Fun fact, Dragon. Fun fact. So obviously Hades is also a Disney villain, but not anything like the Hades that's depicted in this show. But Patrick Page, who plays Hades in this show, also played Frollo in the stage adaptation of Hunchback of Notre Dame. So there is a Disney villain connection there.
There you go.
Okay, so next up, we do TV or catch up?
TV.
Okay,
TV.
Thank you. All right. Okay. 1 second. All right, TV. Okay, so we will go ahead.
Let me tell you about Batman Cape Crusader Season 2.
For sure.
So, so obviously Cape Crusader, it's no Batman the Animated Series. The closest you're going to get in terms of like a Bruce Timm Batman cartoon. So, but I always loved what this show was going for. And, the narrative, the whole thing with Cape Crusader that I always liked about it is that it's basically, what if we had a Batman, it's like hypothetical, what if we had Batman the Animated Series, but we had the narrative tools that the advent of streaming gives us that Batman the Animated Series was not lucky enough to have back then, like in terms of how we do, like, kind of a superhero show, an animated superhero show today versus then, like when people like watch it, get all the episodes, they can watch them in succession and everything. Like this all came out at once. That's the way they do Cape Crusader. You get all 10 episodes. So I rewatched Cape Crusader Season 1, and, I didn't love it as much as I did the first time. I had some issues with it. I had like an issue or two from the launch, but it's like the writing didn't hold up as well as I had hoped on the rewatch. The biggest thing with Cape Crusader is that we have some good writers on that show, but by the same token, there's no Paul Dini, and it shows.
Yeah, for sure.
Harley, I still hate the way they
really was like the secret sauce of the original.
He was, and even though he didn't like write every episode of Batman series, he was like, he was in the writers' room. His presence was around, Anyway, but you're right. Dini was the secret sauce, and the biggest character that always showed up in was like Harley Quinn. Is Bruce Timm can only do the aesthetic of Harley Quinn. We've learned this the hard way for children. Paul Dini is like that's
is it as bad as that though?
No, not as bad as that. Like, nothing can be as bad as that. Nothing can be as bad as that one. But this is like, I still really, that was like if I had like one gripe with Cape Crusader, was always like that take on Harley Quinn, because it's like the whole thing is we're trying to do like an anti-hero, but she tries to kill Batman for no good reason. Why did she she didn't have to try and kill him. Anyway, so season 2, I will say season 2, I think stepped up the writing. It's better in the writing than season 1. Ultimately, I think they've improved there. We have one of the biggest things this season has in its corner with the whole serialization that we didn't really do a lot with in the first season is that we have a running through line with Joker. So Joker was introduced in like the post-credit scene of like season 1. Like the Joker's on his way, he's working on the laughing toxin, the Joker toxin. And this Joker is done like the 1930 like the 1940 version of the Joker, which is he's very serious looking. It's the idea. This is not like your classic. So again, it's a very different Joker than Mark Hamill. It's not remotely like the Mark Hamill Joker by design. You know, this is like a classic comics, like the old like gangster version of the Joker, who's scary. And like he's like in the background, like Moriarty, like preparing to take on Sherlock Holmes, to like a lot of season two, which is great. So they really built him up in like a perfect. I cannot underemphasize like how great the execution of the Joker was here, despite being different than what we're used to. And you know, a lot of times they kind of change things up for the heck of it, and I think that's the weakness of the show overall. A lot of it's changes for the heck of it. Season one really lived and died by. Season two, I think we have a better beat on it. I think it was a lot more natural, but it was like you're kind of used to it at this point. I think Poison Ivy had a good one-off episode where we really reinvented her, but we had a couple really good noir episodes, and that was one of them. The other one was there's this episode with Matt where Bruce Wayne goes undercover as Matches Malone. It's a perfect like noir, like self-contained, basically kind of noir episode where he's infiltrating a criminal organization by befriending a criminal, and the criminal really befriends Matches Malone, and let's just say things don't end well for him, and you felt bad about it. So I think they botched the Alfred growth. There's this whole thing in the first season where he calls him Pennyworth, and he only calls him Alfred after he almost dies, and like that kind of like warmed him up to Alfred a little bit. Here he's still calling Pennyworth all throughout until like the big emotional moment.
That sucks.
The logic there was like, okay, well, he has to call him Alfred during a moment in this season, but we have to make it count. So based on that, he can't call him Alfred until I thought it was stupid. I hate that.
That's just a weird quota to have.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like I like what the show goes for, but then they do stuff like that. Now here's the weird thing. Okay, this season, halfway through, animation budget got slashed in half, and you can tell.
Ooh.
And it's a thing where and it was so weird. I thought, am I going crazy? Is the animation getting choppier? Like the frame rate's off? Like what is? I looked it up. It's like I'm not crazy. Other people have had this issue with it. It's like. I suspect they pulled the funding for Invincible, for more seasons of Invincible. They had to pull the funding from the Batman show. Yeah. I'm convinced. So, So again, it's just the whole thing of this. You know, it's a matter of like just reinventing characters for kicks versus like a period accurate version of these characters. Where if it was in the 40s, what would these Batman characters like? How would we readapt these characters in the 40s? Which I feel when they do that. The reinventions work at their best. Other times, like let's do Penguin as a lady. It's like why, like
right.
So we had less like Mad Hatter as a lady in this, but we used her as like a J. Jonah Jameson character with a talk show, which that kind of makes sense, I guess. So it's like a little something here.
I mean, that's inherently like just taking the name of the character and doing something completely different with it. But sure, I guess.
But that's what I'm saying. So there's still weird.
I mean, I legitimately pitched that with my fucking Matador pitch from the debate. So whatever.
So basically, they're still doing a little bit of that, but I think it's the writing supports it more than it did in the first season. So at the end of the day, with Cape Crusader, it's like we do a lot of old school Batman stuff this season, which I always liked. I love what the premise of Cape Crusader is. Like Batman is always modeled after what it's like the 90s and blended with the 1930s World Fair. And this show actually it's the whole 1930s World Fair kind of vibe. Mm-hmm. So I love that. I still like that. I love the aesthetic of the show. I like what they're going for. I still wish they would iron out some of the kinks. Given the state of Amazon right now, I don't think we're going to get a third season, man. I hope we are. I don't think it's not a guarantee as much as it was in the first place. So we'll see what happens. But it was an improvement. Season 2 was solid. It was good stuff.
Well, fortunately, I do think we're going to get a King of the Hill season 16 because season 15 was fucking great.
I think they announced 16. I think we're good.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is it fair to say, like, obviously season 14 was really good as well? I think this season's even better, man. I think this season was so rock solid.
I would not go that far. Here's the thing. 15 was good, but it's kind of the thing of like when I have a classic King of the Hill where season 14 felt like something special that was like, we're coming back and we're making the most out of the episodes that we have. I think until the last episode. The last episode of season 14 was like kind of a spare episode. It was like, okay, well, We're probably going to come
Maybe
back.
that's why I'm so high on this season, because this season almost kind of pulls the opposite. Like the last show just like really sticks to landing.
The last episode was utterly. I love the finale of this season so much.
Yeah.
It was.
No, I'm right with you. Right there with you.
See, to me, King of the Hill, barring the new seasons, has always been such a hard show to binge, only in the sense of like for consistency, where there's a lot of hit or miss in King of the Hill, and when it's hit, it's fantastic. But certain characters, if you don't like them, then they're going to be around. And like the Luann stuff is always fat. I wanted to trim from the show, which we finally have done with these seasons, which is great. Not that I didn't like Luann.
We acknowledged Luann and Lucky one time in the season, and a very important plot detail, but that's it. That's all we need, really.
Yeah. So that's the thing where it's like, for example, this season that we kind of ran into an issue I think the old show had it's a thing that the show is always going to have, where I felt season 14 had really, I don't think we had a miss with the Bobby stories. This season we had, maybe a few misses with the Bobby stories. And
I will say I thought the first episode of the season kind of started off on like, it wasn't a bad episode, but I definitely enjoyed the subplot with the electric truck more than the Bobby, because the thing with the Bobby stuff is basically like, okay, like they basically already got together at the end of season 14, and now we're going to do like, oh, they're soft. Like that was a very hard story. I'm not going to lie, Dragon. I started that episode, got halfway through it, and my attention kind of drifted, and I was like, I'll get back to this, and I didn't get back to it for a couple days. After I got past that initial hump, it was pretty much smooth sailing.
It's like episodes like that and like Bobby doing the mascot thing. It was like, okay, we're kind of taking a step back.
The mascot thing, very much. Yeah, you know what? You've got Dragon. Honestly, here's the thing. I do think that the finale of this season is arguably better than anything in season 14. But you're right. As far as consistency goes, I think 14's a little stronger.
Because 14, I don't think they fully knew if they were coming back for more.
Right.
Like when they were making it, it was like the whole thing, well, we got one show, we should make it count. Like I loved consistency on King of the Hill when it happens. Like, which again is always the one you ever watch from the beginning.
Like for me, could have had more Joseph.
Yeah, that's the thing. We have very minimal Joseph.
He was in one episode, and I thought he was really funny in the one episode he was in.
Yeah.
Who wants to help me get laid in Mexico?
That's about it.
Right.
So here, let me tell you one I really love. Okay, so the dog episode 2.
That was honestly any episode involving animals, because I really like the dog episode. I really like the chicken episode with Boomhauer.
Yeah. But yeah, so with the dog episode, I loved it. For me, one of my favorite Hank Hill bits in the season. God, I loved it. It was just, I love when we have Hank Hill in the modern world, and it's just like he just has that very relatable, it's the everyman quality. It's just like
he's trying. He's not malicious about anything. He's truly trying.
And you understand the frustration to a degree. Where it's like, for example, just the idea that he goes to a Megalomart and everything's in a case.
Okay.
And he's
in particular drives me fucking crazy. Is it?
Me too. Me too.
It drives me. And I have had that experience of like, okay, I pressed the button like 5 minutes ago. Like, what the fuck?
For me, it's like here's the thing. It's less the button. It's more of like, but no, I've seen it like going to Walmart. So you have like everything's in the case now. But before then, it was like, it's just everywhere I turn, it's like more things are in cases now.
Yeah.
It's like you go to like, it's like in the underwear section, it's like everything's in a case now. It's like, what happened? You go to like the, between that and like batteries.
But I digress.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's like everything now. It's like the most like batteries. Batteries are like, they have to have like, for me, that's the pathetic one I have. Is like, I have to wait for somebody.
I don't know what to tell you, Dragon. There's a lot of Smarty Pants toys that need the batteries. We got a lot of anyways.
Well, he's just trying to get some batteries out of the deal, Tiki.
Right.
Anyway, but you see but that is such a relatable bit, and also at the same time, here's the thing, I always like roll my eyes at the people with like the rescue dogs like who need all that maintenance, and yet they made it work, and the whole thing of like it's basically Hank Hill processing him mourning Lady Bird. I love that. Just that whole that was great. The King of the Grill subplot, I think, was all right. I think
I thought it kind of ended on a whimper a little bit.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
the concept was, I mean the whole like the build up to King of the Grill was interesting. The whole like him being trying to get like kind of
I
performing in front
really
of the
like
camera.
the episode with the food critic. That to me was the
Yeah,
more interesting Bobby subplot.
for sure.
What do you think of the Con and Bill dynamic?
I thought that was fun. The whole
I
thing
thought it
like
was
Khan.
like I'm getting used to the new voice actor for Khan. He clearly doesn't sound like the old Khan, but I feel like the voice does fit the character and what we know about the character. Like I do think he
Admittedly,
works well. It's just
see
kind of an
Khan.
adjustment.
Khan's more of a gray area. That like here's the thing. Khan is a little bit
Oh
more of
no,
the
Khan! I
yeah.
absolutely think it was a
That's what
good
I mean. So
because the
Khan's
voice
like
didn't look
yeah.
stereotypical. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Khan's more of the thing. Not the Avatar thing is like that. Sorry, the Avatar thing's the weird gray area where it's
Like I
like this
said,
whole thing is like
Avatar, like
yeah,
that show is racially ambiguous as fuck, dude.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Avatar legitimately that's the gray area where this is more of like okay, yes. Admittedly though, while it's appropriate, not as good as the previous voice. Pretty hands down, but yes, it's proper. But
Mhm.
Anyway, but the Khan and Bill thing is really fun. Khan, I love how pathetic we've made Khan.
What
Like,
one of my favorite gags in the whole season is right in the finale when it's like right after Hank and Peggy talk with Bobby, and then Hank's like, "Oh no, I know someone who's not going to take the news well." And just the way they edit that is so perfect.
yep. Also, I just love like the scene in the car with Bobby and Khan where he's just Bobby, I hate you so much. I just hate you so I can't do it. I just hate you so much.
Oh man.
God.
Seriously, Bobby Hill, fucking salt of the earth kid right there, man.
I love older Bobby. I think is fantastic. I think that's a thing. Like we kind of put
I
old
think he's a
Bobby.
better character than Kid Bobby ever was.
I
Honestly.
agree. I full heartedly agree with that, Teak.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this
Yeah.
season compared to last season, I think the Bobby episodes where there was not a miss in 14 here, it's like, okay, maybe a couple misses. But
I
again,
feel.
I think we're used to this from the original show, so it's not really a detriment. It's just like, okay, this is kind of how it goes on with them. They're kind of, I guess, getting back in the groove, and maybe not the best way, but they're getting into the groove. It's anyways, a very strong. However, the finale was, oh my god, Pittsburgh. We reveal why the heck Hank Hill was in Saudi Arabia in the beginning.
Mhm.
And it made sense. It was kind of like he didn't get the SpongeBob promotion, so to speak. And it's like he's legitimately earned the right to be upset over that. It's like, okay, the man's been doing all the work, he's been put down. He left. Oh,
The
another
difference
one.
between the SpongeBob thing and this is that, genuinely speaking, I think Mr. Krabs probably did make a good call with Squidward as the manager. Because
I don't know about that.
Sure.
Squidward doesn't care about the job, though.
Yeah, I know. Look, I'm just saying it's not as heinous as what Buck did.
Oh, you're right.
Like at
Buck
least,
did
at
his.
least there's a logic to the Squidward thing, besides just nepotism.
Also, another one that hit me and is like another Hank Hill in the world today, and is a thing that I see all the time. Hank Hill, really, if anyone has parents, it's like Hank Hill versus the scam. Hank Hill versus like the.
Oh, absolutely! My grandparents have gone through that bullshit, and I feel that very hard. Yep.
I love the misdirect on that because it just felt
they
so.
didn't fall for it, but we've known people who have.
Yeah, I love the moment in the episode. Like for me, I don't know if you had this too. Just that moment where it dawns on you, where it's like we set up. Okay, Bobby and Joe, we're in Mexico, and then it's like okay, maybe he's somehow landed in trouble with this whole like hotel.
No, for me,
thing.
it's like I know these fuckers game, man. As soon as I heard like I'm in trouble, I'm like, no,
well,
no.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the moment, like when you get the call, and then you realize, oh no, I'm saying Hank, don't do it. Hank, I'm like, no. It's like it's the moment it unfolds because you think for a moment, it's like, okay, is Bobby actually in trouble? And then the moment you hear the scam, it's like, oh no. And Hank, poor Hank's this gullible. We love Hank Hill, but he's gullible. He's gonna fall for it. Oh. So that was great. Also, one thing we should briefly, Jonathan Joss, the send off they gave him.
Yeah, I wish we had. I wish we had more John Redcorn, but I mean, obviously, given the circumstances,
I mean, what do you think? So, what do you think with the whole thing? He
well,
drives.
I heard one of my favorite animation YouTubers. I don't know if you're familiar with this guy, Johnny Two Cellos.
No,
I'll take that as a no.
I don't think so.
It's all good. It's all good. He reviews every episode of the new King of the Hill like as they come out. Like he reviews them episode by episode.
Mhm.
He made a point where it's like it probably would have played better if in the 20 years since the original show or however long it's been that like in that episode if Nancy and Dale had actually like done the work of like Nancy coming clean about John Redcorn and building the trust up, and that's why they were a good fit to be the leaders of the marriage retreat. And I do see the point there, but no, it was a good send off. But like I said, obviously, like I would like to see more done with the character in the future. Now that obviously the voice actor's gone, and
well, that's what I'm saying. So, do you think it's like he could drive off and never come back, or do you think we should absolutely like keep the character alive but with a different?
I
voice?
think we should keep the character alive, just because I think there's a lot of good story stuff they could do with him and Joseph still. Honestly,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's that. I'm hopeful for it, but I wonder if that was their out or not. I don't know.
It could be, and if it is, it's a classy way to do it.
Because I mean, Joseph could still be around.
Yeah, because the thing with Johnny Joss is obviously what happened to him was just so fucking heinous and tragic. It's not just a celebrity death. It was like a terrible. Yeah. Anyways,
it was an injustice. It was bad.
Absolutely. Yeah. To put it lightly.
I know, to put it lightly. It was. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Last Airbender, season 2. Please don't spend a long time on this, Dragon, because I know it's bad.
Yeah. So Avatar was on the brain because of the movie that was coming out. So I figured I'd give it. And Netflix keeps shoving it in my face. I figured, okay, I'll watch it. Fine.
I knew that you hadn't watched it when the month it came out, and I was like, good for him.
Well, that's the thing. It's just like I was killing time, and I figured, well, it's just kind of there. And I was like, I was gonna watch it. I wasn't gonna watch it.
I get it. I get it with the movie coming out. I get it.
And here's the thing: you got to remember. Okay, so looking back over, you think about Avatar. It's like season 2. The Earth.
Season 2, without a doubt, the best season in the Avatar franchise, without a doubt.
So there was curiosity of like, okay, this is easily always hands down the best season. I wonder how.
It's the Emperor Strikes Back.
Yeah. So the casting on top was spot on. And let me tell you the best element of season 2. Okay, the actors who play Team Avatar had grown up and in season 2, they have really good chemistry and they're really fun to watch.
I mean, that's good because that's one of the things I heard was not a thing in season 1.
Yeah, that's the thing. So season 2, they actually found they're getting along. They sound like it feels like the characters in live action, which that's like that was the fun draw of it. Now that said, they're condensing the best season of Avatar into 8 episodes, and and here's the problem, okay? Because of season 1, the way they handled it, because they don't have faith that by season 3 we can call back characters because people will remember them.
Because Azula was like majorly present in season 1, right? Like they didn't do a build up to her, right?
Well, no, they built her up.
Oh, they did? Okay, my bad.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm pretty sure. Like, I forget if she was in during the scarring scene or not. Like, she was in the cartoon, but I know like the whole end of season 1 was like Anna Zula's coming. Bum bum bum.
Okay.
Anyway, my point is, the problem is they had like all the other characters, the mechanists and everything. Their solution was okay. They're all joining Team Avatar as they make their way to Book 2. So that means they're all along, including Suki. They're all along for the journey, and because of that, we have to find ways to write them out because now we have too many characters, and the way we do it is realistic. We had Suki, and no, they're kind of in Ba Sing Se prison. They're kind of for reasons. I mean, they don't really spend time on getting them out. It feels kind of weird, and that thing. There's certain changes I like for example, retroact the Blue Spirit. We give the mask an origin. I like that. Ursa, Zuko's mom, she tried to leave in the middle of the night with the kids, which that's kind of interesting. That's something we don't really that works. We always did very amorphously in the show. This is directly why the Fire Lord wanted to do something to her. Azula was on the money. Like I said, overall, it's just we have a really forced third act breakup in this season that was really bad. It was just that was the worst part of the whole thing. It was like Aang's getting into a fight with everyone. It was bad. So yeah, not great.
Yeah, I will probably never watch it because of my fear of the mid.
Just rewatch
All right.
season 2 of the actual one.
Basically, seriously.
That's the vibe you get. You watch it, it's like, man, I really wish I was watching the original Avatar right now.
It's like the Disney live action remake thing, you know. It's like even when it's done well, it's still pointless, you know.
Yeah, then I'll guarantee. This is better than Moana. Even though I haven't seen Moana, I can pretty much guarantee that.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
Okay.
Okay. So Stugo. This is the one and only season of this because it got fucking canceled because Disney sucks. But this is a really delightful Disney animated series. Jacob Gulliver introduced me to it. We watched a few episodes together when I was down there with him. And it's basically about a group of gifted kids, like not X-Men gifted, but you know, like they all have special talents. Like one's a musician, one's like really into math, you know, like they're all basically like STEM students, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they basically enter a contest to work for an elusive professor on a mysterious island. Ooh. And she's supposed to be like very prestigious and a world-class, you know, like scientist and stuff like that. They get there. The professor is this like really, really funny, like she's got kind of like an Eartha Kitt kind of Yzma quality to her. I love the design. But essentially she literally just set up the contest so she could get free labor, essentially. But the kids don't really realize that, so they're still kind of trying to impress her. And so it's this great kind of like dynamic where, you know, the scientist lady, like she basically just wants the kids out of her hair. She's doing like all this crazy scientist shit and just like fucking around. Like there's literally an episode where her entire subplot is she bought a jet ski and she's going to go jet skiing and the kids are keeping her from her jet ski, you know. Really, really funny stuff. There's some really good mad scientists. Like the whole thing of the island is it's basically an island of Dr. Moreau's situation where it's a bunch of the scientist is experimenting on like a bunch of like half animal, half human hybrids. So you got like those are basically like the red shirts, right? Like those guys are basically like they're there as just kind of like fodder characters. Occasionally there'll be like one character in the group that'll stand out for an episode. But overall, it's just a really, really great group dynamic. I love the humor in it for the most part. There's one character that I'm not crazy about. His name is Larry. He's the youngest kid in the group, and I don't know. The humor with him was like every time there's a Larry episode, I'm kind of like, okay, this isn't going to be as good. But I like I said, I think the main scientist lady is like the highlight for sure. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for just like a really solid cartoon to binge, the Stugo is a good pick. I genuinely think you would like it.
Okay.
All right. Rooster.
Yeah, so Rooster season 1. So Bill Lawrence, the guy who did Scrubs, this is a show he did starring Steve Carell. Basically, Steve Carell plays Greg. He's basically this guy who's like kind of like what you would call an airport book bestseller. A guy who writes a book that's popular in airports, but you know, kind of became a bestseller, even though it's not the most deep material, very surface level kind of stuff. And the guy ends up teaching at college to help his daughter, who's like basically a professor there, but she's going through a very messy kind of separation, not quite divorce with her husband. So I gotta be honest. I watched this. I rewatched Space Force because it is like one of those things where, you know, Max keeps pushing Rooster. I think got Emmy nominations and everything. I was like, oh man, it just keeps staring me in the face. I want some Carell. I rewatched Space Force. And I was like, you know, I need more Carell. I watched this, and it was just. Episode 1. I was worried that it was not going to be good, and I kind of gave it some time, and I went back to it. It was like, man, it really grows on you. You know, like the charm and charisma of Steve Carell, it really just kind of took it the rest of the way. And it was a feel good show. You know, it was him kind of growing on the college students, and it kind of grew on you. And John C. McGinley, we see Bill Lawrence's love for the man at play, and it was good. And I look forward to season 2.
Cool. All right. I love you. You hate me. Is this a documentary about Barney?
You are correct, sir.
Aha! Awesome. Awesome.
Two-part documentary. It's on Peacock. It's basically about the rise and fall of Barney's popularity. It's very interesting dichotomy of this children's figure. You know, it's the idea that it was created. He was created in a very pure place. It was a mother basically doing something as like a tribute to her newborn baby. You know, she loved her kid. And it's like, imagine you grow up in the shadow of that, where basically Barney is like the other sibling kind of a thing. It's like, you know, it's a little bit of that, and they kind of talk about, like, you know, the people like, you know, portrayed that were like Barney in the suit, and like the guy that did the voice of Barney, and like all this kind of stuff. And it was yeah, it's basically, it's about how the tide turns, and just how like Barney became like this pariah, and like to the parents, and just the over, you know, like the talking down the kids kind of positivity that Barney was, and all this kind of, it's like it's just kind of interesting. They boil down like just the unnecessary amounts of hate that this silly, you know, man-shaped dinosaur got over the years, just during that the 80s 90s boom, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The one they want to mention is Steve from Blue's Clues. He's in this, and basically it kind of reminds you that, you know, that guy, he's so sweet, man. He's such a nice man. He's very much, I mean, this is gonna sound weird, but he's very much kind of like, he exudes Fred Rogers energy to like, ever since the pandemic happened, he kind of came back and he gave comforting words to everyone. And like, the man is just exuding like just this really open-minded, like positive, like kind of kids show figure that is very indicative of Fred Rogers. He's very sweet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool. All right. He's someone I'd like to see a biopic of, honestly.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we get into our last category here. Ketchup. Alrighty. Pressure.
It's Pressure. This is
I'm just gonna throw it out there. If I sound out of it, I'm really not like trying to like phase out. It's literally just like my grandparents just turned off the AC and it's a fucking oven in my room.
Oh.
So I like, I'm fine, but like I said, if I sound kind of out of it, it's not because I'm like getting like, it's not because you're boring me. It's literally just because it's like, I need to fucking get out of this room.
Okay, so have you seen Pressure?
No, I've not even heard of it.
Yes, Pressure. This is a biopic about the preparation for D-Day. This was good. This is stars Andrew Scott. You know, he played Moriarty. In
okay. No, I have heard of it. Okay.
Yeah, so basically, it's Andrew Scott and Brendan Fraser. So Brendan Fraser plays Dwight D. Eisenhower, plays, you know, General Eisenhower, who before he became president. And also Carrie Condon from you know, Better Call Saul. You know, she's in this. You know, like, you know, Stacey Trout, she's in this in a really neat role. The point being, the long and short of this movie is that I had no idea how integral meteorology was to the planning of D-Day. And that's what the shocking thing about the movie is. It's not called Pressure necessarily for like the pressure situation. It's about the whole high pressure systems of the weather. Basically, Andrew Scott is, for all intents and purposes, he's a weatherman. He's, you know, a scientist and meteorologist. He's a meteorologist who basically is like, he's been brought in from the UK to help out with D-Day, and basically like, hey, are we good to schedule it for this day or not? Like, the weather going to permit us and all this, like, for, you know, our plans to, you know, storm Normandy. And Brendan Fraser, he's great as Eisenhower. Like, there's a guy who's like, he's very much the opposition. He's kind of the heavy of the movie, and it's just this this great mounting tension through the film of, like, you know, it's the idea that everyone is so willing to accept the wrong answer if it's the one they want to hear. Andrew Scott is basically pushing up against that, saying, well, no, you maniacs, if we do it this day, you know, it's not going to go well. And it's less about the tension of like, we know the day is, if you're a historian, you know a certain thing's not going to happen on a certain day, but it's more so how the heck did he pull it,
Ryan?
Yeah, we know what happens. But, you know, it's just a matter of like, how can we, it's not so much we know when things are going to happen, but it's like, how the heck did he pull this off? How the heck did he pull off? Like, how did he change their minds, or how did this happen? Or like, you know, how did the day change? Like, you know, that's the interesting thing about it, is the fact that, like, you never imagined the meteorologists actually were the ones that turned the literal tide on this, on the invasion, you know, storming the beaches of Normandy.
Mm.
All right.
Okay, Hamlet 2. Not going to spend a lot of time on this. This is a goofy little delight of a movie that I saw for movie night, kind of very much in the same vein as something like Dick's the Musical from last month. Sewer Boys Dragon, fucking Sewer Boys. I'm sorry. Basically, this movie's about it's kind of like the classic, like I literally had a drama teacher that had this exact same backstory where failed Hollywood actor turned drama teacher in high school who takes his job way too seriously. And essentially, the whole movie is about like the school wants to cut the funding to the drama department, and the drama teacher has to come out with one last big swing for the last show of the semester, or else there's not going to be a drama department to go back to the next school year. And how does he do it? By writing a fucking sequel to Hamlet, starring Jesus Christ with a fucking show-stopping musical number called Rock Me Sexy Jesus. So yeah, the movie is exactly what you think it's going to be based on that description. It's very much got the vibe of like a Mean Girls or like a Bottoms, like kind of like the sort of like a high school setting that's like exaggerated and almost cartoon like in how over the top it is. I liked it a lot. I don't necessarily think it's your type of humor, but it definitely was a fun little movie night pick for sure. And like I said, very relatable with my experience with my own drama teacher.
All right,
Dragon. I have some guesses as far as your mystery movies, so we'll see how right I am.
All right, mystery movie number uno, The Sheep Detectives.
Yep, that was on there for sure. All right, just before you say anything else, how good was Cranston, dude? Doesn't Cranston fucking kill it in this movie?
Yes, he does. He was so good.
I told you.
But then again, Cranston's always good. Even if
but I genuinely think this might be his best performance post Breaking Bad. I honestly, like, unironically think it might be.
Yeah. So this movie is way better than you'd expect.
Yep.
It's this is the barometer for this is what we need from the from our quote unquote kids movies. This is the kind of thing we need to be the new standard,
Yeah, totally.
So I think one of the big reasons this movie is so good, I hypothesize, is Kyle Balda being the director. So Kyle Balda was an animator on Toy Story 2, Bugs Life, Monsters Inc., and he had worked on he directed a number of the Illumination movies. I don't know if he did.
Got like some Pixar touches as far as the story goes, for sure.
He might have done Minions and Monsters even. I'm not sure. He might have. I know he did 2. He did Minions 1 and 2. He might have done the third one. The point being, he's good. So yes, obviously it's about the sheep who love mystery novels, and they're avenging their shepherd's death. And of course, Hugh Jackman, very lovable as the shepherd. But yeah, it's got a fantastic cast. Again, of course, Cranston being a standout. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is our lead, which it's a
I
good
thought
choice.
Nicholas Braun was, as far as the human characters, he was easily like I loved his performance.
No, I'm with you. There was Nicholas Braun for the kids. He was Greg from Succession. And also, he was Jim Henson and Andy Kaufman in the Saturday Night Live biopic.
Which, low key, when I see him, I picture him more in that role than I do his cousin Greg. Maybe it's because of the the comedian quality in my life right now, but I digress.
So I think he was a really solid Jim Henson. Just looking at him,
he was absolutely, yeah.
Anyway, but so Nicholas Braun was really good as kind of this this bumbling cop that you rooted for. I think he really
bumbling cop with a heart of gold.
Exactly. So Julia Louis-Dreyfus being our lead was really neat that she was paired with Cranston, given they had kind of a romantic fling. Then again, during Seinfeld, like their characters in Seinfeld, like her and Tim Watley. So it was kind of funny that they were kind of paired up as like the heavies in the film. Chris O'Dowd was in. Chris O'Dowd was really good. So Chris O'Dowd, for those who I've mentioned on Memoirs before, but I'm sure Tiki's never watched it. They did the Get Shorty show, and Chris O'Dowd was the lead in that, and he's very good in that show. So it was like when I heard him, like, oh my god, Chris O'Dowd is like the one who actually could remember. Anyway, I love them. Basically, the movie is Knives Out for kids. That's kind of the best way to summarize this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but this was delightful. It was just a really good time. I mean, me and my coworker are nuts for the movie. It's like, oh man, it was great.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Dragon. Can I switch the last two just because I kind of want to end on Sam Neill?
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so all right, so Sneakers. This is very much a late '80s hacker movie, which means the technology is very outdated, but it's still fun. It's a really, really good movie. It builds the suspense really well. Like, it's one of those movies that kind of balances like genuine like edge of your seat suspense with you know, a lot of really good comedy. Dragon, check out this fucking cast, okay? You got you got Robert Redford, you got River Phoenix, you got Dan Aykroyd, you got Ben Kingsley, you have Cindy motherfucking Poitier, Dragon. I mean, tell me that's not a stacked cast, dude.
They don't stack the deck much more than that, Tiki.
Right? So, I mean, just that alone, and they all play off of each other really well. Ben Kingsley is kind of like the James Bond-esque villain of the piece. Yeah, like I said, my one nitpick, I mean, I don't care that the tech's dated, but for me, at a certain point, just because I'm not really a tech guy, generally speaking, I kind of got a little bit lost in the sauce with some of the tech stuff they were doing, but I just kind of rolled with it, went along for the ride. It's a really good time. Really fun time. Yeah. That's about it.
All right. Okay, next up, Project Hail Mary.
Yep. I would have been shocked if this wasn't one of them.
So, very good sci-fi movie. Gosling is a great leading man. You know, water's wet. Get the idea there.
Right.
So this was again. This is a way I look at this movie. It's kind of like a nice window into, you know, what if the challenge. It's kind of basically, what if the Challenger mission went well? It's kind of like, what if we sent the teacher into space and, you know, it didn't blow up? You know, it's kind of,
I do
in a
like
sense,
how that's not exactly what the movie's about, though. Like, I like the twist involving the sending the teacher into space thing.
Yeah, I love that too. That reveal is like heartbreaking. It's just like, oh
Yeah,
my god,
yeah.
the betrayal. That scene. Here's the thing: the fact that Marcus from the Bear, it was like,
Marcus, how could you, guy? How could you, my guy?
yeah.
Also, we forgot to mention it, but Tina from The Bear, killer supporting performance in Spider-Man.
Well, yeah. Well, I was going to mention that during the actual podcast, but I forgot you're not going to be on for that. But yeah,
Yeah. I'm just giving her lip service while I can.
You're right. I knew she was going to be in the movie. I just did not know if she was going to be, you know, Jean DeWolf or not. And she is, and it's perfect casting for her.
All right. Anyways.
Anyway, yeah. So, point being, I love Marcus, the actor who played Marcus. Is the
I told you he was a standout.
He was, and you know, it was like fun little how they kind of happened upon like the astrophage, you know, kind of thing, and how they I love how makeshift it was, how they kind of replicated and kind of made the big discovery. Anyway, but yeah, so it's basically how you know, how do we get our? So we have just this you know, this teacher and just kind of this bigger than life situation. How the heck does he get out of it? And, you know, he's all alone, and you know, all this. And of course, he's not alone for long, though. So our alien character in this movie, Rocky, I love Rocky, and I got to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, everyone does. It's like, Dragon, I feel like if you don't like Rocky, you're basically a sociopath.
I'm gonna tell you this. I told our associate this. So Rocky reminds me a lot of Jacob Weil. I told him this.
Oh, I could see it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the friendship between the Gosling character and Rocky was absolutely the heart of the film. It was delightful. So yeah, here's my one gripe I have with the movie. Okay, just one gripe. Okay, so it's Little long, but that's not the problem. The thing is that
Mhm.
the astrophage, I feel I wish it was made a little bit more clear, and I think we doubled down on the astrophage. But here's the thing: at the same time,
Well, it kind
it's
of
a little.
reminds me of what I was saying about the hacking stuff in sneakers. It's like at a certain point, the science mumbo jumbo, I just kind of got to be like, yeah, they're doing science shit.
My thing is with the astrophage, though, is that it's kind of conflicting. Okay, so it's confusing because on one hand, it's the fuel source, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they use to get from point A to point B. On the other hand, we establish the astrophage is what's causing the sun problem. So, how is the fuel source and the problem, and we're replicating more of the problem?
I feel you.
That's what throws me. That's I want to make sure. What couldn't we have named it anything else? Does it have to also be astrophage? Really, guys?
Right.
One of the reasons this movie was as good as it was, Drew Goddard wrote it. Of course, Drew Goddard, man behind Daredevil season 1, and Bad Times at the El Royale.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So chef's kiss writer.
The moment that really got to me, Dragon. The moment that really got to me. I've seen this movie. I saw this movie 3 times in theaters. I would have only seen it twice, but then a group of friends wanted to go see it with me like a month after it came out. Is the scene where Ryan Gosling realizes that Rocky has the resources to actually send him back to Earth. Yeah. And just like the music, Gosling's performance, like that moment is something special, just as far as like high emotion.
Yeah, folks, you will believe a man can hug a rock. The ending of this movie is pitch perfect, but I love the ending.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. That's one thing I'll have to disagree with you.
What? I thought you didn't like the ending?
I thought the last shot of the movie, you know what I'm talking about? I feel like that should have been the post credits. I feel like the ending should have been Rocky and Gosling on the beach, and Gosling saying, and Rocky being like, well, can you wait a little longer? Like, I don't know. I thought the actual ending that we get would have been a perfect post credit scene.
Wait, what happened after that?
The classroom.
Oh, well, yes. Okay, you wanted that part to be the post-credit. Okay,
yes. Yeah.
Okay, see, I thought you were lumping that in with like the whole "Can you wait a little longer?" Okay, so I got you now.
No, I think "Can you wait a little longer" should have been the actual ending. I think the classroom should have been the post-credits.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, ultimately there was no.
It's a nitpick. It's a nitpick.
That's what I'm saying. If there's no post-credit scene, that's basically the end of the movie. Then that's the That's what I'm saying. Like they didn't want to do a post-credit because every other movie does.
Very true. Very true.
I guess overall, though, it was a nice sentiment, though, even if the ending per se was still a very nice way to end the movie, though, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, just the fact that, like, Gosling is, he's doing what he loves. He's teaching, So, yeah.
That's the thing. Okay.
All right, so next up, we got Event Horizon. This is one that I've known about for a long time. Dragon, this is fucking, like, deep cut, that guy with the glasses lore. I'm pretty sure this is the first movie that Film Brain ever reviewed. That's a fucking bar trivia question if I've ever seen one.
Symbolism!
This is directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, the bad Paul Anderson.
The bad Paul?
The bad Paul Anderson. Dragon. I mean, he did like the original Mortal Kombat back in the day. He did the first few Resident Evil movies. This is probably his best movie. I wasn't overly impressed with this, but it does have some good stuff going for it. It's very Lovecraftian, but it's at the same time, it's basically just an alien ripoff. So essentially what happens is that there's this crew on a spaceship and get this, Dragon, they're a ragtag crew, and they might not get along with each other all the time, but they're there for each other, and they're kind of like a fucking found family. Like, seriously, the crew is Lawrence Fishburne is there, and he's good. Like, it's like Lawrence Fishburne. This might have been like, this was 97, so it might have been like his very next role very much could have been Morpheus. So essentially this space crew stumbles upon another spaceship that literally just appears out of nowhere, and it kind of like comes in through a wormhole, and the spaceship is called the Event Horizon. They dock aboard the spaceship. and it's kind of like a mystery of like what happened to the crew. We kind of like spell that out like in like kind of breadcrumbs as the movie goes on. And then as the movie goes on, oh my God, the horrific shit that happened to the crew is now happening to the characters. So it's very stock as far as being an Alien ripoff. Like I feel like it's very much like wearing its influences right on its sleeve. I think the cast is good. Like, obviously, you got Sam Neill. What I like about Sam Neill is, without giving away too much about how the plot actually unfolds, Sam Neill is the doctor on board the ship, and he starts out as like the main protagonist. And by the end of the movie, the fucked up thing that is happening with the ship, like he's in it, and he basically turns into like the monster. And I think it's a very natural kind of like transition from like the main protagonist to, I don't even want to say the villain. Like he straight up turns into a movie monster, like a Lovecraftian movie monster. And I think it's a really good job. Like the makeup on him in that state is really, really effective. I think the best part of the movie is honestly the visual effects. Like they're not, some of it doesn't hold up super well, but there's a lot of practical effects. There's a lot of practical sets and stuff that look really cool. Some of the CGI in space holds up really well. So it's got a very distinct visual look. It's pretty grungy. So I didn't love it, but I did really appreciate, like I said, my buddy and I, we actually just watched this last night for movie night. And I just specifically was like, look, I just want to watch something with Sam Neill in it that I haven't seen yet. So we landed on that. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad I saw it for the Sam Neill of it all. Definitely wouldn't recommend it to you because it's got some body horror stuff I really don't think you'd be into. But, like I said, as a Sam Neill vehicle, it was interesting, especially because it's like almost immediate. It's 97, so it's like not immediately after Jurassic Park, but he's still kind of like in that post-Jurassic Park kind of like boom. So yeah, solid movie, not great, but really solid use of Sam Neill for sure. All right, take us out.
Okay, got two more here. So, The Long Walk.
Oh fuck me. Oh God. Okay, I mean you know that this movie for me like fucking rocked me. So all right, hit me with it.
So I thought, obviously The Long Walk, simple but solid premise.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Mark Hamill was fun, but this was no Brigsby Bear for him.
I mean, it's a totally different role. Like he's very one-dimensional in the movie.
Well, that's what I'm just saying. I'm just saying with the character, ultimately the Mark Hamill character doesn't really. He's a presence in the movie. If you combine his screen time, it might be the same as the 3 scenes of Brigsby Bear. I'm just saying, like, got a little more depth in like 3 scenes there versus like he was fun though. It was fun. The whole
he's less of a character and more of a force of nature.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he's basically a walking status quo. They epitomize the status quo of the world to that guy. Exactly. So he did a good job conveying that, obviously. So Mark Hamill was a big reason to watch the movie for me. But so that's the thing. So this movie, the movie was good. I wasn't, I was dialed into it. I was watching it. Man, I gotta know how this ends. I want to know like who the heck's gonna get to the end of this thing and how.
What do you think of Dear Sweet Jojo Rabbit?
So remind me, which Jojo Rabbit was the reporter?
No, Jojo Rabbit is the first kid that dies.
Oh, right, the first. Sorry, the first.
Yes.
Yeah, his it was brutal. Yeah, when he just instantly shot him, like when he was tying his shoe.
I mean, God, man, it's like for me. No, I don't know. I guess I'm just on a different wavelength for this movie than everyone else. But for me, this movie is like pure cinema for me.
No, I mean, look, I want to be clear. This is a well-made movie. This was good. It's good and done in a very economic kind of way in terms of it was just people walking for a whole movie, but it was done in the most exciting way. Basically, it was like this is like Kevin Smith, the only version of Lord of the Rings of Kevin Smith to really get excited.
If Lord of the Rings had like a walk till you die fucking gimmick to it, maybe Kevin Smith would have been into
That's the thing. Like, all this walking. Like, what if the walking? Hell, if you stop, you're gonna die. Basically, it's the walking version of Speed. Essentially, it's kind of like
It is. It is totally, yeah.
But yeah, so Cooper Hoffman, absolutely, he's got chops, and I can see why they're courting him for Cyclops right now, based on this movie. It's like, yeah, I'm just saying, if I right. So remind me, his co-star in the movie, that's who's playing T'Challa the second, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and he was, that's what I'm saying. I was invested in that friendship, and by the
dude's got graphics sauce, right?
Yeah, no, he does. That's the thing. Really good performances from our young actors here. And, it was grueling, man. I'm telling you, for me, the headies, it was like the bathroom situations. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, no, I had a feeling that would be the thing that you'd kind of have trouble with. I get that. It
was like it's like grueling thing. Oh my god, it's the idea of like, it's like how many days this is going to go on for. And it's like, well, logically, it's like, number one, that's easy, but
at a certain point, you have no shame. You're just pissing and shitting all over the place.
That's the thing, yeah.
Just like in the goddamn Trojan horse.
Exactly. And this, the suicides by veering from the path, which is brutal too.
Oh, okay. So I gotta ask about Ben Wang, dude.
Ben Wang was the he was one of the Musketeers, right?
Yes, he was the. He was the.
He was. Yeah, I remember. Like, I'm just saying, he was like one of our original four characters. He was like, yeah. Oh yeah, his
death scene still fucking haunts me, man.
The fact that we had like the one guy like calling it out, like basically, so we the movie's been out long. I'm gonna spoil it. Mark Hamill, the general's son is basically he's pointing out like, oh yeah, he's a goner. He's just walking for the heck of it now.
And they draw it out. They draw it out, and then
we shoot him, and he's like they won't finish him off. They're just letting him bleed out.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll tell you my favorite runner. I think with the actor who's going to play T'Challa the second. I love the animosity he had towards like that one jerk who basically got that poor guy killed, and it was like the long-haired punk kid who was like
yes.
And at the end, that guy.
I love how at the beginning that character is basically like your stereotypical like sociopath, irredeemable Stephen King bully, and then by the end he's just as human as anyone else.
Exactly, But yeah, just seeing like he just felt genuinely guilty about like I just wanted to like make the guy lose, but it's like, well, no, what that means is you're killing this man, and just sinking in all these people. It's the fact that they're.
This movie's going to age like fine wine, dude. This movie's going to age like the fucking Shawshank Redemption.
I mean, that's the thing. There's a simplicity. This movie could have been told. You could have done this movie at any time period, and it would have still, like, you don't have cell phones. You don't have, it's just a guy in a tank with a gun. That's you could have done this at any point. Like, I forget if there's I don't think there's anyone like tracking using the pedometer or anything. I don't think, or is there?
Yeah, there is. They remember they're all wearing the heart rate monitors.
Oh, okay, so they are. That's about it. And that's the thing you could always chalk up to like a sci-fi thing if you ever wanted to. So that's you still could have told this story like at any any kind of point in time, and it's just still like that's why it's going to be everlasting, though. But it was the thing. It's a very engrossing movie. The ending. I don't know. The ending is a bit. I don't know.
The ending's definitely divisive. I like it, but
I like the ending. It's not divisive.
Not my favorite element of the movie by a long stretch, but I like what they're going for. It's definitely different than the book, but it has that same sort of like the book kind of has a similar like ambiguous quality to the ending. I just think the book does it a little better.
I think the ending is solid. It's just a little easy ultimately in terms of like getting revenge. Like after like first thing, the sacrifice is like it was great. It was just the revenge. Like I mean, I'm rooting for it because that's clearly what needs to happen here. But it's like, oh wow, man.
But I mean, with that ending though, there is like a big speculation of like, did he actually succeed or did he literally get lit up by bullets as soon as he took the gun?
So that's my thing there. So sorry, that's what I think is too easy. It's not so much what happens, but it's like the fact that afterwards, like, well, is it over? Is the whole hierarchy like turned over? Like, what's the deal? It's like that's that whole thing. I know we need to keep it ambiguous, but it feels like why didn't they shoot him up? Why didn't, it's like the guns aren't even drawn. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think the fact that the guns aren't drawn is kind of like for me, in my personal speculation, that's kind of a sign that maybe it's not reality.
Oh, okay, you took it there. I just took it as like, okay, well, maybe they're all like, well,
that's how I
read
it. That's how I read it.
I read a little more literal, like either they just like maybe it's like the Emperor from Star Wars, like, well, the Emperor gone, like before the era of Mando was like pretty much.
I mean, no matter what, if the ending happened, like if the general if the major dies or not, I still think it's not going to solve much.
Yeah, my assumption is that wouldn't solve much, which is why I was a little like, oh man, I don't know if this is really going to do the trick. But the way we played in the movies, like, feels like, well, it probably does the trick.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's kind of maybe not a happy ending, but it's a definitive ending. Anyway, so last one I got here, Lorne, the Lorne Michaels documentary.
Yeah, I meant to see this when it was in theaters. I just didn't get around to it.
So our boy Morgan Neville did this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, Lorne Michaels is very enigmatic. We really don't know much about Lorne Michaels. There's a bit in this documentary that I loved where they basically point out that on his Wikipedia page, completely fabricated, not a real thing there. That's the thing. Like, he's like, none of it's really like, it's not real. The point of Lorne Michaels is that he's that much of like an enigmatic kind of like this mythic figures that no one really knows anything about Lorne Michaels, only through like the people that actually know the guy and like know only bits and pieces of him. And it's like it's not a rehash of the SNL biopic at all. It's very much it's about the man. It's kind of a day in the life kind of thing. We kind of like get to know the man through like the other like the SNL cast members and stuff secondhand. The idea is that the reason for that being, and Morgan Neville found that he was a very difficult subject because he doesn't like being filmed or on camera, and that kind of thing. So, but he's still following around and everything. Also, we learned that Lorne Michaels loves popcorn. He loves it. He goes nuts for it. Chris Parnell narrated, and it's it's good. Yeah, Lorne Michaels is interesting. It's not the best Morgan Neville documentary given the stiff competition there is for that, but it was interesting. Worth a watch, but not like knock over your grandmother to go watch it kind of a thing. It's not like it's yeah.
All right, like I said, Dragon, I'm sorry, I'm not like, you're not boring me. I'm just like very, very done with this heat. Okay, best and worst, really quick.
Okay, best. It's tough, but I'm gonna say Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Worst. I'm gonna say. I'm sorry. I don't think I. Man, I just looking at it now. I did not have. Maybe the troll. The troll man thing wasn't bad, but maybe nothing. Maybe nothing bad. I had all good stuff this month.
How dare you?
Yeah. How dare I? Oh, how dare I not kick a Canadian just because his documentary was okay? It's because it was fine. How dare I victimize the granddaughter of Charles Manson all because she has the unfortunate, reality being related to the man.
Okay, for me, it's pretty clear cut. Best, Brand New Day. Worst, Evil Dead Burn. Pretty easy, pretty clear cut there.
Okay.
All right, folks. I guess just shout out really quick. Shout out to Teddy, Little Blue, and Code Geass for joining us in the comments. And I genuinely do not know what happened with the lag. I hope that settles itself out in the archived recording. All right, so we have waxed on long enough, and it's time to put the pen down. Until next time, we return for another fitting chapter in our
movie
memoirs.
Shoot the arrow.
Piss and shit, Spider-Man.